At the Jiangcheng First Professional Academy, the teacher announces to pupils their completion of all the theoretical courses at the academy. Today is their day to awaken their talents and also enter the dungeon for the first time ever. He summons the pupils by their IDs to undergo talent awakening. After spending so many years in this world helpless, our hero Lin Ye looks forward to his talent blossoming. Swordsmen and magicians are the most prevalent professions. Then, warriors and others are closely behind. But due to minimal healing benefits, weak mobility, and nearly negligible assault capability, priests are at the bottom of the professional ladder. With powerful equipment and high-grade abilities, other professions may solo instances except for priests. Priests may only lurk behind the team, accumulate experience, and heal, making the profession a joke. Sumumu asks our hero if he has decided on any career to choose, but our hero informs her that it's merely meaningless to worry about it because he'll know what career would suit him after waking his talent skills. All the pupils start crying at how beautiful Mumu looks and get angry when our hero pats her head. The students are unhappy with him for thinking of himself as superior and want to know what talent he'll unleash. Wang Shuai starts the awakening test and wakes the rare level talent, powerful. The students surrounding him are impressed by Wang Shuai's rare level talent. However, Wang Shuai looks forward to watching our hero earn Mumu's favor. Mumu wonders why her friend always ignores other people's opinions, and he responds that he's only focused on becoming the strongest. Our protagonist is called for the awakening next. He comes up to the stage, and his soul is abruptly transported to a new realm. As the blue and red dragons erupt out of light and absorb into his body, he's astonished to witness himself unlock the mythical level skill, Reversal of Heaven and Earth. The mythological level talents have never appeared before, thus our hero chooses to hide them. The system indicates that the Reversal of Heaven and Earth talent reverses and strengthens all of our hero's skills. Upgrades can change the nature of his talent, and the present strengthening effect reduces blue consumption. The current transformation effect makes gains become debuffs, and debuffs become gains. However, it can be enhanced after the personal level reaches 10. Our protagonist thinks about his mythical level talent that can reverse all consequences on himself and freely activate or deactivate, and realizes that attackers can never kill him. However, if he solely utilizes non-skill, basic strikes, or lets the priest heal him, it can hurt him. He now knows why talents might be hidden. After the announcer informs that our hero has chosen to hide his skill, everyone thinks that he has awoken some garbage talent, and Mumu just overrated him. Mumu travels to awaken her skill next, while our hero visits the statue of the goddess to choose his career profession. While choosing his profession, our hero thinks that his practically unbeatable talent is a divine-level skill, and to maximize the power of the talent and make up for its limitations, he picks the priest profession. Our hero affirms his profession and develops into a priest. Our hero performs his reversal skill, and his healing spell suddenly becomes a life-depriving force, reducing the opponent's health by 50 points. Our hero realizes that the skill is characterized as diminishing life, which means defense armor won't be able to withstand it. The battle strategy becomes evident for our hero, but he also knows that he needs to be mindful of his teammates' healing or buff talents, because in a reversal situation, the boosts from teammates would end up damaging his body. Everyone starts mocking at Lin Ye for selecting the priest profession and thinks he wants to hide behind his team. Meanwhile, Mumu awakens a legendary level skill, Tears of Biogenesis. The talent allows her to summon otherworldly souls to fight for her. Everyone instantly falls in awe of Mumu's ability and wonders what career she would pick. They again scoff at Lin Ye for having a substandard talent versus their goddess. Mumu picks the mage profession, and everyone realizes that it's a fine choice, since she may also become a member of the professional alliance. However, the teacher is more interested in our hero for deliberately picking a priest vocation. They find it remarkable that he chose to be a priest without being coerced into it. Mumu runs to our hero to inform him about her occupation, and requests to walk into the dungeon with him. Lin Ye refuses to join her, and tells her that he has other plans. The system warns that the novice trial dungeon has opened, and advises everyone to team up with the other students. Right then, Wang Shuai approaches our hero, and asks him for his help to talk to Mumu and have her join his squad. And he even offers to take him along in his team as a reward. However, our hero refuses to join them. The principal walks in and reminds them that battling against a group of monsters takes coordination. He tells our hero to set aside any grudges, but Lin Ye assures him that he doesn't hold any grudges. He merely wants to solo the dungeons for higher experience. The principal doesn't think a priest can solo a dungeon, and advises Lin Ye to not gamble with his life. He tells our hero that he could perish in the dungeon, but our Lin Ye assures him that he can do it single. Our protagonist wants to solo dungeons to level up rapidly and to avoid his mythic level talent being revealed to others. The principal is left wondering why this pupil has so much confidence. The system cautions our hero against entering the trial alone, but he enters the dungeon nevertheless. Our protagonist enters the dungeon. The Forest of Wolves is a hard dungeon for the beginning trainees. However, if they work together successfully, there won't be any casualties, and getting a B-level rating is already the best result. The dungeon contains a healing spring in the middle to recover health. Although it protects the safety of novice trials, the dungeon also diminishes the rank of priests. However, if someone is too bold and leads the wolves together instead of clearing them on the way, or ventures too deep into the forest to the Forbidden Era, they will die in the dungeon. As a mythical level talent awakener, our hero is not pleased with middling ratings, and so he intends to enter the famous Forbidden Land. Deep in the Forest of Wolves, Linye stands before the wild wolves. Bite skill starts the bleeding skill that produces continual damage for 3 seconds. Our hero uses his reversed healing spell, dealing 50 damage points to the wolf, killing it instantaneously. As the wolves lunge at him and bite him, their bite skill reverses, adding 20 points to his health and a constant 2-point health gain from the passive bleeding skill. Our guy then reverses the universe again and uses his jail skill to constrain the wolves. The confinement skill clears the wolves' mana and makes it worthless. As the wolf falls, our hero sees how effective this spell is against low-level enemies. The wolves continue to assault him. He applies the reversed healing magic again, killing them in an instant. Seeing how each little monster delivers 10 experience points, our hero believes he can level up to 4 by clearing all the monsters. His goal is the hidden ultimate boss, and with even a 1-level difference, Linye feels confident that he can do it. The healing spell cools down, and our hero uses it once again. He continues defeating the wolves and escapes the battle standby condition. He turns off the reversal of the universe effect and the clarity spell and allocates the 2 attribute points to intellect. Our protagonist already has the power to heal without taking damage and continuously recover mana. He wants to invest all his points into characteristics since he feels that he can optimize his damage this way and score instant kills. Meanwhile, the principal spots Linye moving into the ban zone and realizes that he plans to face level 5, the hidden Black Wolf King. The principal thinks that our hero's hidden talent must be at least legendary level, or maybe even above legendary. But since the potential is hidden, the principal decides to divert his focus to the other students. His friend makes a bet with the principal that our hero can beat the record. However, viewing Mumu, they find her ambitious but lacks experience. In the dungeon, Mumu meets the wolves. She uses her ice solidification spell, leaving everyone in awe of her strength. The ice shatters, killing the wolf instantly. However, more wolves rush in on them, and she prepares to run. But suddenly, Mumu realizes that her image as a goddess will be shattered if she runs. She stands back, shielding her troops, and uses the tier of biomimicry. On the other hand, our hero levels up to 3 and assigns his points to intellect again. Right then, he hears some commotion in the distance and sees the concealed boss. The Dark Wolf King is the hidden boss, is a taboo in the Academy records. Countless young talents were gravely maimed or disabled fighting it, and even potential heroes were cruelly slain by it. Since then, this forest has been classed as a taboo by the Academy. Our hero continues to view the Wolf King from a distance. The wild wolves usually seem to be about him, yet sometimes they also act normal and periodically leave to locate a convenient position. The wild wolves sometimes linger around instead of immediately returning to their cave after solving a problem. Seeing how they leave regularly, our hero knows he can take them out one by one. Our hero continues to take down the wolves. The tiny wolves continue to contribute to his experience, preparing him against the evil Wolf King. This way, our hero can minimize the quantity of the hidden bosses and raise his level. After fighting down the wild wolves and achieving level 4, our protagonist encounters the Black Wolf Lord. The system shows the concealed boss's stats. Its health and attack power are 50 times that of an average wild wolf, and a fresh adventurer could quickly be crushed by it. However, our hero is no ordinary explorer. As the wolf attacks our hero, his health grows. Linye feels confident of himself for overcoming the hidden boss. The cooldown finishes, and he casts the reverse healing spell, instantly taking down some of the Wolf King's health. The Dark Wolf uses his claw strike, but our hero dodges the onslaught. The evil Wolf King then utilizes his rage. Our hero reminds him that his subordinates are all gone. As the hidden boss takes a leap to strike our hero, he utilizes the reverse healing magic again, instantly putting down the Dark Wolf King. After fighting the hidden monster, our hero receives 1,000 experience points and reaches level 5. As a prize for clearing the trial, he receives a bronze chest. For completing the hidden achievements and slaying the final boss, he gets a silver chest as an added reward. However, considering that a healing reversal spell didn't qualify as damage, Linye considers that he might not have accomplished the triple S evaluation. Meanwhile, as the system indicates that a student has cleared the trial with a triple S evaluation, the whole academy is left startled. The principal is stunned to observe the extraordinary event, and seeing that the hidden achievements were removed, he understands that only Linye reached that forbidden region. The other staff is similarly startled, and can't believe that the trial was cleared without sustaining any damage. Mumu is also left startled, because she could hardly get out alive with an A-level finish, and wonders who this genius could be, and wonders about how her friend could be. Our protagonist opens the silver chest and obtains a rare skill book, Catastrophic Ailment, 5 free attribute points, and the silver grade equipment, Dagger of Shadows. The Dagger of Shadows improves his attack power by 50, armor penetration by 10, and has a 5% chance to make the target bleed. The Divine Healing Talent gives friends within a 10-meter radius a divine aura that heals 100 health points and delivers a continual regenerative effect, recovering 20 points per second. The Catastrophic Ailment curses all the enemy in the 10-meter radius with an evil aura. It takes away 100 health points and adds a continual bleeding effect for 10 seconds, causing 20 health points of damage per second. Our hero learns both skills. Although they have a long cooldown period and use a lot of mana, they aren't an issue in the early stages. Such massive damage output and AoE burst already make it the dominant talent in the early game. By combining it with a clean mind, the cooldown becomes trivial, and our hero has now already passed the strongest mage class. As for the dagger, he aims to sell it to the affluent second-generation players to meet his future bills, because he doesn't want to squander his uncle and auntie's money. The largest prize of all is the 5 attribute points, because they're incredibly rare. Other than the 2 points acquired upon leveling up, they can only be obtained by accomplishing specified objectives in challenge instances or opening secret chests. If the first completion of a dungeon doesn't achieve a S rating or higher, one wouldn't gain attribute points. But for a triple S completion, the extra 5 points are a prize. Our hero decides to dedicate all his excess attribute points to intelligence, and from now, he becomes the most extreme magician and the most deadly disastrous priest. As the gateway opens, the pupils get excited, waiting for the SSS team to appear. Their excitement turns to shock when they see Linye come out alone. They still think the genuine team is coming behind. Mumu asks our hero if it was him. Wang Shui still underestimates our hero and thinks he didn't achieve anything. Right then, our protagonist pulls his dagger out to sell to the assassins. Everyone is amazed to see the silver quality equipment. They start bidding their prices, and the highest one gets to 50,000. Our hero counts on the offer to 2, and suddenly someone bids 100,000 alliance coins. The whole annual income of a regular household is 10,000 alliance coins. It would take them 10 years without drinking or eating anything to save that amount. Everyone is startled to hear the bidding price, and our hero sells the dagger to the bidder. The other adventurers crowd around him, asking all kinds of questions. They can't believe he went solo and cleared the dungeon with the highest evaluation. The academy tutors hesitate to accept that our hero cleared the dungeon with such a good assessment. Currently, not a single professional at the top of the pyramid, at the novice level, can achieve the standards for a triple SSS evaluation. Wang Shui becomes enraged and thinks our hero must have cheated somehow, because a priest can't be that powerful. The principal steps in and tells everyone that they're now apprentices with remarkable powers. In 30 days, they now have to go through the most significant event in their life, the professional test. In the future, whether the players return as ordinary individuals or become heroes fighting the flow of demons, depends on their performance in the assessment 30 days later. The principal urges everyone to use the low-level Secret Realm dungeons to level up to 10. The professional test is to be undertaken as a team, and our hero has already picked on his companion. He knows that Mumu could act chilly, yet she worries a lot. She's highly devoted and easily deceived, and even if she has a powerful talent now, our hero still wants to protect her because that's the promise he made to his uncle and aunt. So he begs Mumu to go to the outside dungeon with him. The Secret World Stone Cave dungeon features a standard difficulty level where they have to kill the Poison King, then a hard difficulty level where our hero has to slay the Scorpion King within a specific time, or else he would fall into a frenzied state. The challenge dungeons can be picked according to the difficulty, and the difficulty grows with the level of the dungeon. The higher level implies more challenging enemies, more requirements to clear, and more people needed. but it also means more rewards. Newbie dungeons normally have normal, hard, and nightmare levels, but the Stone Cave dungeon has only a normal and a hard level. Seeing our protagonist chose a challenging challenge, Mumu thinks that she'll merely hold him back from obtaining an SSS ranking. However, Linye advises her that this dungeon has a skipping class to avoid monsters and clear the dungeon. The monsters and terrain in the dungeon are fixed. By sorting out certain materials left by the seniors, our hero found out that skipping class is possible. Mumu is surprised by her friend's deduction skills. She has always been aware of his secret strength. She regularly watched him researching numerous dungeons and monsters, calculating different data, and nevertheless, he barely passed every theoretical exam, which made everyone think he was easy to bully. However, Mumu feels that her friend will become the hero who rescues the world. Inside the Stone Cave dungeons, Mumu is fascinated by the sparkling crystals. Linye reminds her that this dungeon is more perilous than the previous ones. It forcibly matches insufficient team members with other teams, which means they have to watch out for monsters and competition. An explosion goes off, and one of the players hits the wall. Wen Shui is repeatedly pummeled by the creatures, and he understands that this dungeon is considerably more tough than he could have imagined. The system shows that the poison sting of the demonic monsters would paralyze anyone it hits. Wang Shui starts terrified and sees our hero coming in. He reminds Linye of the Academy's mutual aid covenant and asks him for support. However, our hero leaves them be and runs away to clear the dungeon solo. Our protagonist tells his friend that the scorpions are terrified of water and have no long-range attack method. He tells her to follow his command and assures her that she won't get poisoned. When Mumu makes a noise, Linye adds that the scorpions are also very sensitive to sound. A gigantic scorpion stands in their way. Our hero employs his looting skill and instantly takes down the scorpion, leaving Mumu startled. Our hero reveals that the main criterion for skipping class is to bypass the monster's surveillance by taking a unique path. They reach the insect in the dungeon. Linye and Mumu jump into the spring and swim out to the other side. Our hero picks up a rock and throws it up to frighten the beasts. All the scorpions direct their focus towards our hero, and he purposely baits them towards himself. The scorpions gather at the spring, and Linye performs his magic to quickly kill all the scorpions, gaining 2,000 experience points. Wang Shui's complete team is startled to see him instantly destroy the monsters that his whole team struggled with. Mumu casts her ice condensation magic and kills the rest of the scorpions. She receives experience points, leveling up to 4. After slaying all the little scorpions, our hero concentrates on the Scorpion King. As a boss monster, it fights the tendency of fearing water and swims through the spring. Mumu's ice condensation spell only causes 10 points of damage to the Scorpion King. Mumu is horrified to witness the boss monster's fearsome defense and worried that she might make a mistake. Our hero tells her that the weak area is at the second segment of the scorpion's belly. Suddenly, the scorpion hits them, but they dodge the onslaught. Our hero tells Mumu to keep establishing the footholds. He then utilizes the looting technique, dealing 115 points of damage. He then signals Mumu. She uses her ice condensation magic. The Scorpion King reveals its weak place to make a move. Our protagonist lands a critical hit, causing 1,000 points of damage and killing the Scorpion King instantly. Mumu is startled to see her companion destroy such a powerful monster so quickly. As a result of completing the dungeon with all the achievements, our protagonist's rating rises to SSS. He receives a golden treasure chest and 5 free points. Wang Shui and his teammates fall on their knees and beseech our hero for forgiveness. Linye instructs them to keep today's events a secret if they don't want to suffer any penalties and exits the dungeon. Our protagonist enters the teleportation space to open the treasure chest in private. He opens the treasure chest and finds a growth-type poison bubble skill for the mage class, golden-grade Gale shoes equipment, a silver-grade hunting greatsword, a silver-grade emerald ring, and 5 free attribute points. The hunting greatsword has an equipment effect of raising attack by 200 points and strength by 5 points, with a shield breaker passive effect. The Gale shoes boost agility by 10 points, increase mobility by 30%, and have a passive effect called Ghost Step. The poison bubble skill book is a golden-grade skill that summons a poison bubble that does damage upon touch and expands a damage area upon explosion, with a chance to affect a victim to enter a 5-second poison state. The Emerald Ring reduces the cooldown time of all talents by 10%. Mumu is amazed by the golden chest prizes. The 2 golden grade items are top-notch for the early game, but the largest treasure is the silver grade ring for our hero. The ring is as precious as free attribute points, and it may bring our hero 1,000,000 coins in auction. Our hero gives over the poison-based skill book to Mumu. Since she was previously using ice-based skills, she feels she can't utilize the poison-based skill book because mages can't acquire skills of other qualities. However, when she touches the book, she instantly unlocks the secret talent, 5 Elements Master. Mumu is startled to uncover this new talent because she had never heard of this before. By amassing talents from different qualities, she can have some surprising advantages. This latent talent now becomes Mumu's trump card. Mumu asks her pal how he's going to use his 5 attribute points, but he informs her that his way won't fit her. Outside, the players worry that they will fail the wilderness instance. Right then, our hero and Mumu transfer, and they instantly fall in awe of Mumu. They discuss about Lin Ye's ability and his rumored achievements, and then, a car drives in. Huang Xiaofeng steps out of the car after seeing the girl Lao Jiao was talking about. Mumu clutches her friend's hand and hurries to go. She hates Xiaofeng for using his family's background to clear cases and playing with females from disadvantaged backgrounds. Xiaofeng approaches up to Mumu and begs to get to know each other. Everyone quickly focuses their attention to Xiaofeng and starts chatting about his ability to become the top scorer. Mumu rejects Xiaofeng, claiming that she already has a partner. Xiaofeng sees his objective. Our hero asks Mumu if she's avoiding the guy. Our protagonist pushes the playboy away. Xiaofeng becomes upset and decides to fight. He uses his charge skill to punch our hero. However, when he lands the attack, our protagonist employs the reverse plundering technique, and Xiaofeng takes the harm himself. The playboy is angry, thinking his opponent utilized some ruse. Our protagonist informs him in a childish voice that he didn't do anything because his occupation is a priest. Everyone spectating is left surprised, witnessing Xiaofeng on the ground. Xiaofeng takes another swing in fury and ends up harming himself again. Our hero was only trying out his reverse healing on pros and now discovers that the plundering technique might also negatively harm professionals. Even after suffering a battering, Xiaofeng dares our hero to a fight and thinks he'd make his opponent bow. Xiao Qihong informs his pal that professionals aren't authorized to employ awakening skills in private conflicts. He's amazed that a priest can seriously damage someone with a touch of skin and top-notch equipment. He's aware of the school forum discussing about our hero soloing the dungeon and reaching level 5, but refuses to accept that it's possible. Xiao Qihong knows that Lin Ye must have awoken a great talent, so he apologizes to Lin Ye on his friend's behalf and assures him that he doesn't want any difficulties in the class. Xiaofeng screams at his friend for apologizing instead of fighting. Xiao Qihong raises Xiaofeng up and tells our protagonist that his friend will certainly cause difficulty for him in the future. He hands over a card with 50,000 in it and urges our protagonist to not come to school for a month. He proposes Lin Ye come to him to level up in the dungeons, to not fall behind before the test, and tells him to avoid Xiaofeng for a while. Our protagonist finds Xiao Qihong interesting since he wants to sell a favor instead of fighting. Lin Ye doesn't want to annoy anyone, but he wants to see how many people Xiaofeng can get to trouble him because that will give him a chance to try out his battle effectiveness. Mumu marvels at the cave dungeon guide written by our hero and wonders if it'll genuinely sell for a high price on the forums. Our hero promises her that no one can resist more free attribute points. Outside the cave, a group of experts stare at the guide, wondering if it's real or phony. One of them chooses to buy it to test it out, and immediately then someone buys the guide for 5,000 alliance coins. 3 minutes later, a professional comes out the portal, astounded that he actually cleared the SSS rank. He posts a review on the guide, and soon enough more and more people start to buy the guide, and the forum fills with nice evaluations. Everyone is surprised by the effortless class skipping. The orders continue to come in, and Mumu's eyes sparkle gold seeing so much money. However, the guidance is starting to garner notice from several agencies. They seek for the person behind the guide, but our hero employed a hacking technique to mask his tracks. They ping the IP down to Jiangcheng College, and their supervisor wonders whether anything extraordinary has transpired at the academy lately. On the other side, our hero also finds a buyer for his excellent sword at 80,000, and the buyer agrees without any trouble. Mumu is amazed by how much money our hero has made, but Lin Ye wants to run more dungeons. Although the silver tier graduation weapon is the strongest early gear, Lin Ye predicts that it will soon be replaced. Even with top-tier equipment, lacking combat awareness implies that one is basically fodder in the trials. Mumu asks our hero why he spends time compiling guidelines to gain money, even though there's so much time left for the test, and he's already progressing incredibly quickly. Lin Ye says that he's doing it to defend people he loves, because they've been protecting him all these years. In his prior existence, our hero was an orphan who never had a family. This world has been his fortune, since here he had parents who loved and protected him. However, 10 years after the demonic wave halted, the relatives treated him with brutality and wished him dead so that they could divide his parents' wealth. Our protagonist starts remembering when his relatives would debate over what to do with him and who takes the fortune. They would plan on keeping him like a dog and haggle over receiving a bigger portion. Our hero had no way of resisting, so he just went away. His objective was to live and make those family pay, but then his uncle and auntie took him home and treated him as their own. They assisted him steadily and even helped regain his parents' inheritance without taking a penny for themselves. The greedy relatives were dragged to court and faced punishment. Without his uncle and auntie, our hero couldn't have received an education and lived the life he is living now. Earning money is to return those aunts and aunties a debt of gratitude. For him, becoming stronger is to defend the three most important people in our hero's life and to prevent the past from recurring. The first-year student Bai Ji walks up to our hero and asks him whether he's the legendary swordmaster. Seeing her unmatched appearance with the username Muscular Man Brother, Lin Ye thinks she's here as a proxy transaction. Bai Ji insists that it's genuinely her. Our hero wonders if the small girl is inherently incredibly strong or if she put all her points into strength. He tells her to thoroughly scrutinize the item because refunds aren't authorized once sold. Bai Ji takes the sword, and as she swings it around smoothly, our hero learns that it's her own strength. However, Bai Ji still can't believe the magnificent sword is truly merely 80,000. Only one of such grade is manufactured in her grade, and when she inquired about it on the external market, the hunting greatswords were cost above 200,000. Seeing her absolutely unaware about the equipment pricing, our hero assumes she's some privileged youngster. While they finalize the transaction, he tells her to verify the prices before making a buy next time. After the transaction clears, our hero's balance exceeds 1 million and he becomes a gold card member. As he walks away, something hits him and the system displays that he's received a special perk called Gaze of the Lucky Goddess that will enhance the loot box level of each dungeon he clears. Bai Ji informs him that it's her talent and asks if she can join his testing squad. Our heroine is startled to find Bai Ji have an innate lucky bonus, a talent rarer than certain legendary talents. Seeing her, he believes that she's not lying about it being upgradable and knows that it might be deemed almost invincible. The application of this ability is not restricting, and with the support of this enhancement, one can also access legendary or even mythological treasure chests. Lin Ye asks Bai Ji if she has told anyone else, and she claims that she hasn't. She further tells him about her constraints, that it can only be used 3 times max every week, and can only be bestowed upon one person each time. Our heroine encourages the little girl to not let anybody else know because it can attract some dangerous attention. He informs her that her buff is incredibly precious and limited, and once it's known to anyone, it'll attract wicked professionals. They might even imprison her and strip her of her freedom and future. However, Bai Ji is curious, thinking that the Professional Alliance is the spot they're all intended to attend. It's an organization that reaches throughout the globe, guiding humanity in the struggle against the flow of evil. Lin Ye explains that there are factions inside the organization that have a tangled connection, and there are power battles and assassinations happening all the time. He asks Bai Ji to join his team and promises to take care of her. Bai Ji is astonished to be invited, and our hero reintroduces himself to his new partner. A moment later, Bai Ji meets Mumu. They both greet and introduce each other. Bai Ji falls in awe of Mumu, and Mumu thinks her cute. Our hero offers them both to a dinner and informs them they have to continue with the dungeon. The dungeon our protagonist wishes to visit next is the nightmare-level Goblin Underground Dungeon. In order to acquire freedom points for everyone, our protagonist decides to enter alone first and plan a strategy for his teammates. The nightmare level is the highest difficulty, and golden-level loot boxes are a minimum guarantee. However, the monsters in that dungeon also have increased qualities, and a rookie player could easily die if they're not careful. So Mumu grows overprotective of her friend and refuses to let him embark on a suicide mission. Our protagonist tries to tell her that he'll be alright, but Mumu says that even some expert adventurers can run into troubles at the nightmare difficulty. She screams at our hero that even several above level 10 players have been seriously harmed, and no one has attempted it in a long time. Seeing her enraged, Bai Ji runs away. Our hero agrees with her and tells her that he'll take on the hard-level dungeon instead and advises coming home for dinner first. Mumu accepts and threatens to alert her parents if he breaks the bargain, but deep down our protagonist already intends to sneak out and solo the dungeon. Meanwhile, someone shares a picture of our protagonist taken at the dungeon teleportation point at the academy. The forums gossip about whether or not conquering a dungeon solo is even conceivable, while some question if the top scorer actually has to be from the Zhongcheng Academy. Mumu continues to scroll on her phone, and Lin Ye snatches it from her to get her out for supper. At the supper table, the whole family catches up about the challenges. The uncle admires our hero's strong spirit and urges him to not overwork himself. It comes out Mumu had complained to the uncle about our hero, and they try to urge him to have a more healthy and stable existence. Lin Ye jokes a little, and then promises his uncle that he won't do anything beyond his ability. The uncle extends a card to our hero. Lin Ye tries to decline it, assuring them that he's earning well, but his auntie compels him to take it. Our protagonist is grateful for his uncle and aunt for the life they've given him. For their sake, he feels that he has to get stronger, and heads to the nightmare-level dungeon. Meanwhile, Xiao Feng yells at Zhao Qiheng for betraying him. Qiheng tries to tell him that he was attempting to save him, and without him he'd be laying in the hospital. Xiao Feng screams at his friend, calling him useless. As Zhao Qiheng walks out, his companion tosses a glass at him and tells him to get lost. Qiheng turns around and tells him that he deserves to be beaten up and left sad so that even his mother would recognize him. But then he chuckles and reminds Xiao Feng that he doesn't even have a mother. Xiao Feng becomes enraged and tells him that they're done being buddies. Qiheng understands the kind of trouble Xiao Feng is in. Lin Ye might easily damage him without even using any active skill, and there are reports of a guy solo clearing dungeons. Then there's been a rising star marketing tactics, generating curiosity from various people, and developing devotion among pupils. The fact that both are in the same city suggests Xiao Feng is in jeopardy. Xiao Feng calls his minions and urges them to gather additional people and equip them with the best gear to teach an arrogant student a lesson. Our hero visits the Goblin Underground Dungeon. This is one of the most tough dungeons at the current level, and owing to its long duration time and high demands, even highly professional talents avoid going here. However, in this dungeon he can locate superior Ulden chests, and with the lucky buff unlocking platinum-grade lower chests and gaining over 10 attribute points should be easy. As our guy faces the goblin soldier, the timer starts. The aim this time is to test his speed kill technique. The prerequisites to get a triple S rating in this dungeon are to beat the secret realm boss and kill all the enemies without using any special equipment. But there are two unique points. The first is to complete each floor in under 10 minutes, and the second one is to slay the Goblin King, the boss of the secret realm, while weathering attacks from goblins. At 5 seconds, the goblins assemble at the entryway. In 30, our hero speed kills the goblin soldier. In 2 minutes and 5 seconds he dashes deep into the depths of the first floor of the underground, and faces the goblin captain, the same as he estimated it. As our hero reaches the gate, he uses his healing skill effectively, conquering the first floor in under 4 minutes. Our protagonist's miraculous healing skill upgrades to level 2, and the bronze door to the second floor unlocks. After clearing the first floor in just 5 minutes, implies that the monster pulling route for the first floor is possible. Even if the damage isn't enough, there's still a 5-minute opportunity to get it done. Our hero clears through the second, third, and fourth story easily, and reaches the last 5th floor, teleporting to the Goblin Palace. The Goblin King sits at his throne, furious with our hero for visiting his palace. Our hero is astonished to face the last boss without defeating any underlings first. The Goblin King starts the fight with a wide area skill Earthquake Split. Our protagonist knows that agility is not adequate, and thinks about fast dodging to the side to avoid the hit zone. He lies down to reduce the damage from sweeping shockwaves once the goblin lands. However, he chooses to reverse the damage from the Earthquake Split and Spear Thrust. Our protagonist obtains some health and then reverses the ranged shockwave of the earthquake. He then assaults the Goblin King, dealing 200 damage. The Goblin King utilizes the skill Dragon Spear. The reversal skill heals 200 of Lin Ye's health, and his attack power improves by 40 points. The Goblin King then utilizes another skill, and learns that it still has no effect against his opponent. So, he rushes into a frenzy, thinking that he has guessed his opponent's weakness. The Goblin King calls his subjects. Our hero is surprised to witness the nightmare-level boss's might, but he still doesn't think it's the perfect time for the final move. The Goblin King orders his minions to immediately assault our hero, without utilizing any skills, assuming that it's just the skills that are useless on our hero. The goblin troops start to attack our hero, but he dodges, and the attacks they manage to land only end in his advantage. The Goblin King only grows more enraged, seeing him absorb attacks without any damage, and our hero's look in his eyes offends him even more. Our protagonist uses his reversal skill to tank the Goblin King's health. The Goblin King gets upset with our hero and dares him to a fair combat. Our hero stops and turns around for a frontal fight. As our hero sets his staff down and calls his energy, the Goblin King is left stunned, witnessing the demonic god's strength in his hands. The power falls down from the heavens, rushing through every nook of the palace, instantly destroying all the goblins. The Goblin King's health reaches down to 1% as his desire to fight back evaporates. Our hero employs his reverse healing plundering effect and finishes out the Goblin King. After killing the Goblin King, Linye earns 5,000 experience points and levels up to 7. He earns a triple S rating, and the gold level chest upgrades to a platinum chest thanks to Baiji's luck bonus. Our hero is impressed by the luck skill, and the dungeon duration allows him to run this instance once more. He opens the chest and receives various goodies. Our hero is thrilled with the rewards. The Stellar Brilliance gives a vast area for group healing and damage reduction, but with the effects inverted, it means a greater damage range and higher instantaneous output, while simultaneously reducing the opponent's damage reduction and increasing damage. With this, any monster may be slain quickly. Our hero cheers for his new strategic level group skill and learns Stellar Brightness first. As for the Holy Light, he intends to learn it since it's not that stunning. He subsequently allocates all 15 attribute points to Intelligence and takes a leap in his stats. As Linye gets out of the portal, he's captured by Mumu. He attempts to play foolish, but finally admits that he has cleared the horror-level dungeon. Mumu informs him that she got a sudden thought and wanted to attempt this dungeon. As they stand outside the portal, Xiaofeng finally finds them. He tells his underling that our hero has been looking for a beating. However, the underling refuses to do it since he's too terrified of our hero. So Xiaofeng decides to take care of it himself. Our protagonist puts the Holy Light skill book and the Sandstorm bow, together with the Nightmare level dungeon's S-Rank guide, up for sale. The users start drooling at our hero's ability to clear such a high-rating dungeon. The forums speculate that Linye, the merchant of the Great Sword, and the guy who solo completed dungeons at triple S rating are all the same individual. However, all the comments began slandering the conspiracy theorist for suggesting that Linye could be a powerful professional with a powerful talent. The guide starts to sell, and Linye receives a request to purchase a Holy Light skill book for 100,000 coins, and the Sandstorm bow for 150 coins. He obtains a total of 500 alliance coins, which isn't as much as he expected. Our protagonist thinks that because his guide doesn't feature a flawless clearance of the Goblin King at the conclusion, no one is willing to buy it. But the problem is that even if he produces such a guide, no one can clear it. However, the Nightmare level dungeons are still an enhancement for his equipment, and money is only a second preference. With 15 hours remaining for the luck buff, our hero decides to take a rest, regenerate energy, and proceed to the next dungeon. As our hero goes out on a walk, a car drives up to him, and he sees Xiaofeng in the car. He reminds Xiaofeng of what happened last time, but then his underling threatens his family. Our hero becomes enraged and agrees to give them a duel if they don't cry about it. Xiaofeng is enraged with his underling and instructs him to not intervene in the brawl. He feels certain that his pricey gear would help him fight against our hero, but then he whispers to his underling to follow the original plan. Our hero learns that Xiaofeng has recruited additional people. He sits in his automobile and hurries his opponent to battle. Xiaofeng promises to make our hero crawl like a dog, but Linye aims to make him wish that he was dead. Xiaofeng drives his opponent into a jungle. Our heroine is impressed to see so many individuals and asks if they want a one-on-one or a group fight. Xiaofeng requests for a one-on-one duel, feeling confident that he can beat his opponent, and brings out a diamond-level shadow sword. As all the combatants charge at our hero, he summons his staff and makes a leap back. The underling is shocked to see his agility. He continues to run them about. Xiaofeng's underling uses the assault slash. Our hero decides to employ his reverse destiny gift. The underling starts laughing at him and suddenly starts coughing up blood. He's left surprised, seeing his opponent smash through the golden tier armor without any attack. He gets back on his feet, assuming that his opponent is simply some regular priest. He calls his friends to all attack together. All the fighters assemble around our hero. Linye employs his reverse all-star divine brilliance. The chains summon about, detaining everyone instantly. The underlings are astonished to find that they were brought down with just one shot. Right then, Xiaofeng boasts about his diamond-level armor, obtained for tens of millions at an auction. The diamond-grade armor set boosts all attribute values to 100. The underling is astonished to see the Huang Group's sole heir wear armor, obtained at China's top-tier auction. Xiaofeng threatens to make his opponent kneel down. As Xiaofeng meets his opponent in his sparkling diamond-tier armor, he thinks Lin Ye would be afraid of him. Our protagonist informs him that the inner weakness always exists, no matter how pricey his gear could be. Xiaofeng gets upset and runs towards his opponent. Our hero soars into the air, surprising his opponent. While Xiaofeng tries to combat Lin Ye, his underling is stunned. He can't understand how our hero immediately defeated all the fighters in some move, and how his damage could be so great. The underling felt as if his opponent wasn't human anymore. It felt more like something that came from the evil flood. Seeing his opponent move around so swiftly, Xiaofeng assumes that he has dedicated all points to agility. He boasts about his pricey gear, and thinks he can take down our hero with only one hit. However, our hero warns him that his base characteristics are just too low. Xiaofeng takes a swing, but our hero dodges and decides to take his turn. With just one attack, our protagonist deals 1,000 points of damage, destroying the armor shirt and the diamond grade set. Xiaofeng is astonished to see his diamond gear absorb so much damage. He uses his slash charge, followed by a triple slash and a sweep across 1,000 men. But our hero dodges it all. As Xiaofeng struggles to get back up, he starts receiving damage all of a sudden. He rolls on the floor in pain, and our hero heals him back up. Lin Ye warns him that his strikes may easily break through his armor. He then asks his opponent to give up his diamond-grade equipment to him, and to pledge never to cause trouble again. However, Xiaofeng refuses to comply and takes damage once more. He gets upset with our hero and chooses to use his ultimate move. Our protagonist sits on the floor unafraid. Suddenly, Xiaofeng's bones start to break. Our hero stands back up and cures his opponent. But then, Xiaofeng threatens his opponent by using his rich dad's name again. Our hero dislikes being threatened and takes away his opponent's health again. After depleting his health, he heals Xiaofeng again, and then drains his health again. He continues to torture his opponent while the underlings learn a lesson. As our protagonist demonstrates his actual power, Xiaofeng's underlings are surprised and afraid that their leader would be slain. Meanwhile, a camera continues to record the whole incident. People start turning in for the live ranking broadcast, commenting about what new buzz is going in town today. As most spectators fill in, they begin debating the well-known second generation, Xiaofeng, and ask whether this struggle was supposed to happen quietly. During the live feed of the fight, excitement rises as viewers observe the new skill utilized by him. They query where Xiaofeng obtained the confidence to employ such ability. Then Xiaofeng opens his mouth and curses aloud. The public narrative transforms instantly. Viewers started calling him out for his harsh behavior, claiming they didn't anticipate such an attitude from him, especially as someone with his status. When Lin Ye begins employing his magical powers, the audience's focus turns totally on him. They commended his ability to heal and deal damage at the same time, pointing out how rare it is for a priest to directly assault a warrior outfitted with diamond-grade gear. The webcast catches Lin Ye's face clearly, and people start recognizing him, wondering whether he's from Zhang City's professional academy. They bring up the conflict that transpired a few days ago, and suggest that Xiaofeng must certainly have horrible luck. Two critics note knowing Lin Ye from school, saying he was the first person to ever solo a dungeon, which verifies their belief that he awoke a high-rank ability. Viewers quickly go into his former dungeon records, even though they weren't from huge professional-level instances, and start discussing his incredible store of SS-graded items. His transactions having been photographed simply enhances the hype. Baiji tries to move the audience's interest elsewhere, but many continue focused on this new prospect for priests and begin organizing Lin Ye fan clubs. Many start openly supporting the suppressed ones and condemning Xiaofeng, accusing him of acting arrogant only to attract women. They think he looks down on normal people and that being the eldest son of a huge firm doesn't suit his personality. The argument swiftly escalates into calling him a Nepo baby. Soon, viewers start criticizing his father, Tianqi Huang, accusing him of constantly covering for his son. Before long, people began protesting against the Huang Corporation outright, calling the corporation garbage. The corporation's stock values start dropping. Mumu reveals the video to her parents, saying that they should teach Xiaofeng a lesson. Her mother, however, resists. She thinks Xiaofeng's personality is already distorted, and that life will naturally show him what occurs when someone takes such a route. When Mumu tries to disagree, her mother tells her that intervening will only make them look as awful as Xiaofeng. She reassures her that Lin Ye can handle this much on his own. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Professional Alliance questions whether Lin Ye has formally appeared in the professional sphere yet. He notes that Lin Ye's newly disclosed talent might easily push him to legendary rank, bemoaning that such potential is being spent on him being a priest. An extreme, once-in-a-lifetime talent, he says, should work directly under the professional alliance. Other alliance members voice their support for officially involving Lin Ye, but the conversation soon puts Xiaofeng's father on the position. They inquire what he plans to do about his wild son. Chairman Huang assures them that he has already settled on compensation and has apologized on behalf of Xiaofeng, pledging he will handle the situation seriously. Back at the battlefield, the guy sent by Xiaofeng's father appears and pleads Lin Ye to show some pity. Xiaofeng, hearing this, starts laughing desperately, stating that his father will murder him. Lin Ye asks the assistant why the chairman is harassing him, stating that if the chairman wants to talk, he should come in person. The assistant swiftly clarifies that the chairman sent him to give compensation and apologize on Xiaofeng's behalf. Xiaofeng yells out in surprise as Lin Ye examines his alternatives. Moments later, Lin Ye gets on a call with Chairman Huang, who apologizes once more. The chairman then says he is willing to recompense Lin Ye for all the stuff he lost, anything within his capabilities, and asks if Lin Ye can hand Xiaofeng over to them so he may properly reprimand him. Seeing a wonderful chance, Lin Ye asks for 3 sets of unrestricted diamond equipment, 1 priest set, 1 mage set, and 1 soldier set, plus 5 million alliance coins. He asks whether Chairman Huang can manage that level of salary. On the other end, the chairman goes silent, astonished, questioning if Lin Ye is being serious. The chairman hears Lin Ye's unreasonable request and freezes, thinking about how he can't find 3 unlimited diamond-level sets for separate classes, even if he searches the entire country. After a moment of silent worry, he tells Lin Ye that it may take a few days to locate the 3 sets, since he doesn't have them in his current stock channels. If by chance he still can't get them, he says that he will personally farm the sets from special dungeons, and the Alliance is prepared to contribute additional resources to speed up the process. While speaking, the chairman notices something peculiar. His son is unwittingly exposing him on the personal jet. He adjusts his spectacles and uses his detection lens to discover the camera source. The assistant walks forward and addresses the live feed directly, telling the viewers that the situation is now settled. The chairman has apologized, and a compensation plan has already been planned. Lin Ye, on the other hand, thinks about how the Alliance has suddenly taken notice of him. He wonders whether they have already discovered his exceptional talent. The chairman keeps talking, stating that he can offer Lin Ye access to all the underground tunnels encircling Jiang City. He warns him that out of the 50 dungeons around the area, certain rare ones hold deep-rooted disputes between groups, locations where only the boldest specialists dare to step foot. Lin Ye calmly says that a month is enough for him to clear the dungeons. The chairman hesitates, asking if that genuinely would be sufficient for a new professional. He doesn't mention the truth that he simply gave dungeon access so he can later pamper Lin Ye's colleagues as well, quietly attempting to develop a deeper connection. He asks Lin Ye to bring his teammates along in the future. Lin Ye accepts and says he would settle the rumors on the professional forum and will live stream their dinner in exchange. The chairman appreciates his thoughtfulness, and with that, Lin Ye concludes the call. He hands the phone to his assistant, remarking that he'll let Huang leave since he apologized truly. The assistant explains that life in the professional world is hard, and such pressure often pushes people toward extremes. The next day, the 3 of them stroll into a 5-star restaurant. The establishment is noted for its excellent service, with cooks from all over the world. Each team receives a specialized service personnel, whether dining alone or in a group, ensuring the finest experience. Mumu tells Lin Ye that even though Chairman Huang has apologized, he should still be cautious throughout the dinner. Lin Ye reassures her, thinking that the chairman's apologies felt genuine. He sees potential in him and wants to create a long-term working relationship. They enter into their private service room, where Chairman Huang invites them in. He asks Lin Ye's teammates to have a seat and apologizes once more on behalf of his son, claiming it was his own fault for not parenting Xiaofeng properly, which led to such despicable behavior. Both Mumu and Baiji are astonished. How can the leader of the Huang Association be so humble and nice when his son is Xiaofeng? Meanwhile, Lin Ye worries about how Chairman Huang is willing to degrade himself so much for the sake of his unfilial child. He shakes the chairman's hand, informing him that bygones are bygones and that he will let Xiaofeng go. After some time, the chairman presents the equipment. Lin Ye inspects the goods to see whether they contradict with his current gear, but the equipment just enhances his healing, increases survivability, and doubles his damage resistance. Satisfied, Lin Ye nods. Baiji praises the chairman sincerely, while Mumu thinks that acquiring such gear is expected of an affluent family and appreciates his kindness. The viewers watching the stream believe the same. They accept that the chairman's apology must be genuine, since he wouldn't deliberately lose so much money over expensive gear unless he truly wanted to resolve matters. Many people soften their views and feel that letting him go is fair, considering how much he compensated. The squad enjoys their dinner comfortably. Before departing, the chairman gives Linye a heads up that he will likely find media waiting outside. He then hands Linye a pass to the nightmare-level dungeon, the Land of Bones, and lets the group proceed. As usual, media swarm him the moment he steps out, bombarding him with questions about his new talent and whether he can solo any dungeon. Linye calmly makes his way through the crowd, leaving the reporters empty-handed and bewildered. Xiao Feng lay awake in his hospital bed when the deity appeared above him. He inquired in an angry tone who he even was. The deity calmly told him that he was Mei Gao Wei, a master from the abyss, and not only that, but a high-ranking demon with pure blood and great strength. Xiao Feng sneered immediately, stating he believed some unique person had visited him, only to find out it was someone like this. He stated that after he recovered, he would personally toss him back into the abyss like a bunch of bugs. The master narrowed his eyes, thinking that Xiao Feng had a very big mouth for someone who is currently a laughingstock for the whole country. He kept his expression steady, but couldn't help arguing his own side. He explained that what transpired was only a strategic retreat from their people, nothing more. Then he started asking Xiao Feng if he was truly okay with everything occurring around him. His humiliation, his ruin, and even his own father departing to join hands with Linye and shame him like this. The master leaned closer and told him that he didn't need to undergo such humiliation. He could strike a bargain with him, one that would ensure unmatched power, strong enough to crush everyone who had insulted him and betrayed him. But Xiao Feng didn't even consider the offer. He pulled the master off him with a quick hard shove and told him to go lost. He stated that it was his last warning, since he didn't want any mercy from a lowly being like him. The master's claws twitched slightly, and for a second, it appeared like he would murder him right then on the spot. Pulling himself back and frowning at Xiao Feng, he said that if Xiao Feng ever changed his mind, he should call his name. And then he departed without another word. On the other side, deep inside the Land of Bones, a dungeon with difficulty-level nightmare, players found themselves surrounded by an army of dormant skeletons the instant they entered. Mumu asked Linye how many times he had used his unusual gift that week. Linye stated that he had used it only once, and encouraged Baiji to let her own skill rest, as she had used hers twice that week. He went on to explain that even the best drops wouldn't make much of a difference for them, because they all have diamond-level equipment. The Huang family had also given them exclusive access to the catastrophic level, boosting their potential even more. Linye began outlining their idea. Their major goal in this dungeon was to obtain free attribution points, then acquire a platinum weapon, and ultimately attain an SSS grade plan for the nightmare level. Mumu confidently told him that they wouldn't intervene while he fought. To earn an SSS rating in this dungeon, players were required to fight the final boss, eradicate all undead skeletons, and do it all without utilizing the dungeon's unique weapon, the Holy Sword. Baiji pointed out that the challenge wasn't even that different. They merely needed to use the Holy Sword to clear it without thinking too much. Mumu waved his hand and told her not to worry, since they would be having a party anyhow after selling all the valuable loot from this dungeon. Linye used his own blood to attract in the skeletons, purposely pulling their focus away from the Holy Sword. He coughed up blood from the effort, his characteristics decreasing dramatically as a result. Mumu swiftly passed him the comfort herb pill to decrease the physical agony. Linye continued battling for his life as the skeletons surged after him, proving his prior assumption right. The skeletons were more attracted to the aroma of living blood than they were to whatever assignment they were given. Baiji watched him with rising worry and wondered if it was truly okay for them not to aid him. Mumu told her again that Linye could manage all of this alone. Linye eventually reached the edge of the Land of Bones and employed his mending method. The abrupt explosion of energy surprised the skeletons. They stopped following and started to retreat knowing the situation, but Linye released the reversal of divine devastation on them. It was like fallen hell fell upon them. Their bones began to detach, and their bodies started melting into nothingness. The three of them reached the edge, just in time to hear a voice from inside the cave, wondering why they had awakened him. The undead knight of aptitude, platinum rank, came outside with his weapon in hand. The awakened beast, the undead knight, discharged a grudge upon seeing them. Linye noticed that it was a reversal human skill and utilized his plundering technique, which dropped the knight's health by 500. Linye recognized that he was more vulnerable and not as strong as he had believed him to be. He kept attacking the undead monster with the same looting attack until the system notified him that the knight had entered a critically injured state. His new state triggered his passive talent, undead fury, boosting the knight's qualities. The knight opened his eyes, summoning his skeletons, and soon enough all the undead creatures resurrected, which astonished Lin Ye, since he didn't anticipate his attack to backfire. The knight called him dumb, telling him that he did not comprehend he had reached a dead end, and commanded him to utter his last words. But hearing this, Lin Ye merely laughed. Mumu stood to the side and claimed that foolish creatures like the knight did not know math. Since the resurrected animals only had 100 health points, and Lin Ye still hadn't used the holy sword, he would need only 3 seconds to kill them all. And just like that, Lin Ye released his power, and as expected, the health points of the revived creatures dropped down, and they died for a second time, leaving the knight in shock. Lin Ye told the knight to tell him his final words, and used the reversing healing art looting technique, reducing his health by 700, and defeated the boss. Just like that, he completed the dungeon. The algorithm calculated all his task accomplishment and elevated him to SSS Braid rank. He received the gold and platinum chest, and he reached Catastrophe Falls level 2 through Fallen Hell. Mumu and Baiji cheered for him, but the system interrupted, telling him that upon the dungeon's completion, while protecting the holy sword and defeating the undead knight, he had received a unique reward, the Stone Sword Key, which can open any one-time dungeon gate in the Land of Death, under all conditions met, with the highest difficulty of catastrophe level. He wondered if he heard it right as the system asked if he wanted to open the chest or not. Lin Ye advised the girls that the rare item of this dungeon was different from regular dungeons, and that the dungeon with all its treasures disappears once you use the key. He educated them about the hierarchy of the dungeons. The normal ones with difficulty nightmare are visible to novices, but after that there are calamity, disaster, catastrophe, and epic levels. Baiju wondered if the rewards under this dungeon were any better than the ordinary dungeons. Mumu told her that the goodies dropped were unique. Lin Ye inquired if no one among the pros could keep their health at 100%. Mumu encouraged him to quit thinking about other shortcomings because they had a chest to open. He obtained Massacre and Iron Fist of Blue from the gold one, while he gained attribute points from the platinum chest. He laughed at the fact that none of the goods were acceptable for a priest, and inquired whether Mumu needed new weapons. Mumu hesitantly nodded. Lin Ye handed her the equipment or sword, while training her how to utilize it. She inquired where they would go next. He ordered them to duplicate his motions and clear the Land of Bones by themselves, acquire their S rank, and gain experience. Baiju yelled that she was alright with that, when suddenly, Lin Ye sensed danger and shielded Mumu while staring ahead as a gigantic man seized Baiju while pointing his knife at her neck. The man questioned if he took the stone sword key. The buff man holding Baiju captive advised Lin Ye to drop the stuff they sought if he was clever and didn't want anything to happen to the girl. Soon enough, more people started coming and encircled the man, among which a wizard, a priest, and 2 warriors surrounded the assassin holding Baiju. On the other hand, Mumu, a wizard, and Lin Ye, a priest, stood there and watched. The assassin urged him to hand them the sword once more, just as Baiju whirled around and assaulted the assassin. She inquired why they would do such a thing. The wizard on the opposite side tried to injure her, but she fought his spells off and slumped down. The magician praised her skills. Watching the scenario unfold, Lin Ye informed them to let go of Baiju if they didn't want to perish. The warriors started laughing and encouraged him to give them his best shot, since they loved it rough. Lin Ye moved up and attacked them with excruciating convulsion. The magician and assassin made a run for it, leaving the warrior to Lin Ye's mercy. Baiju jumped up and ran toward him. The fallen warrior asked how he was able to do it at only level 10. Mumu unleashed her bionic tears that kept off their priest. The 3 of them got together, ultimately getting into their places. Lin Ye told them to back off, as they didn't have any guts to rob them. Their mage came back, cursing them, saying they would regret being dumb once they saw hell today, and started doing his spell. Just then the assassin started moving like a voodoo doll, and the mage told him to kill Lin Ye, since the girls were not as strong as him. Mumu glanced at the weird scene, and wondered whether the magician didn't care about his own comrades. But Lin Ye warned them beforehand, asking them to step back, since he sensed the aroma of magic tied on them. He recognized that the people standing before him were all fallen ones, who willingly made bargains with the demons of the abyss, ignoring their initial gifts, which caused them to attain abyssal powers that were several times stronger than their original ones. He informed the girls that they had lost their humanity and had become enemies of mankind instead. Lin Ye didn't spare a second, and used his newly earned talent, which was Reversal Divine Healing. Catastrophe descends, blasting a burst of energy loaded with fire toward them. But the mage on the opposite side beat off his magic. He chuckled, calling Lin Ye weak, saying he couldn't even cast a spell by himself. He controlled their assassin and told him to seize their equipment as it looked valuable. The assassin advanced near him, but Lin Ye stabbed his palm within him, burning him from the inside, leaving the others in shock. The mage phoned their medic, asking him to heal the assassin, but the healer shook his head, saying the magician the assassin was already dead, therefore healing wouldn't work on him. The wizard turned white, questioning himself how a level 10 user could have such strong attacking strength. It wasn't feasible unless he had also made a pact with the demon of the abyss. But he soon understood he was fighting none other than Lin Ye, a guy who was not an ordinary professional. He told his colleagues that Lin Ye was not human, and that they should all run. Lin Ye said that none of them would be departing alive after their collusion with the demons, and attacked them with starlight brightness, and fallen hell descended upon them. Their health became 0, as Mumu explained that if they defended themselves, they could end up like them. Baiji wondered what to do with the bodies since the guild will find out. But Lin Ye advised them that the guild wouldn't be concerned since the fallen ones were not acknowledged by any organization as they acted on their own. He checked for any good stuff on the fallen ones until he got a hold of a catastrophe-level pass of a dungeon. He recalled the dungeon being in the professionals' test once, as its difficulty level was nightmarish, but no aid team was able to clear it. The dungeon's second monster, Dark Personite, became a true nightmare and an obstacle for all the trainees becoming pros. But all the pupils still went for it, not to acquire top-tier equipment or experience, but to grab a hold of the drop after a perfect and first-time clear, which was the key to the catastrophic-level dungeon, the Forgotten Nest. He clutched the pass and judged that it was a story for later and headed into their next dungeon objective. Mumu identified it as the Giant's Demise Forest and requested if they might go there, but he explained that once Baiji's talent cooldown finished, they would enter this dungeon because they needed to obtain a hold of the pass for Forgotten Nest, along with completing level 10 inside the dungeon. Baiji calmly asked if they should fire or chop the fallen ones, although there would still be traces of them. Mumu sighed and remarked that if one of them were a summoner, it would be a lot easier for them, as they would only have to give the bodies to someone. Lin Ye looked at them with horror and held the fallen ones on his back, telling them he would hurl them into the dungeon so they could cool down along the dungeon. The two of them started pulling the bodies, agreeing that it was a wonderful plan. After their rigorous lifting, Lin Ye admitted that it was time to return to the academy to rest and balance their relaxation. Once Baiji's aura cooled down, they would proceed to the spot that could bring them to the catastrophe level. One day passed, as the three of them sat together enjoying their dinner. Mumu pointed out how they never had time to relax when they awakened their talents. Lin Ye told them that they were still collecting allowance coins and established a plan of coming back here anytime they needed to unwind. Mumu informed him otherwise, claiming that because she wasn't a youngster anymore, she had to save her allowance coins for equipment, which drew Baiji's attention. While enjoying her dinner, Baiji offered to pay for their meal this time. Lin Ye laughed at that and called the waiter over. The server informed him that their payment had already been paid by. He glanced around to discover that individual, as his eyes landed on the head. The person got forward and identified himself as Yan, an official from the Professionals Alliance and the head of Lin Yun's sect. Lin Ye presented his introduction, along with his teammates. Yan merely grinned, saying he was aware of who they were, and publicly welcomed Lin Ye to join Lin Yun's sect, which would grant him an early entry into the Professionals Alliance. The offer equally astonished the three of them, as Lin Ye told him that he still hadn't taken his test yet. He argued that if he consented, people would think he used special connections, without revealing his might to the public, making it hard for the Alliance to avoid suspicion. He determined that he wouldn't join as he had no plans to, and told them he had his own plans. Yan understood his stance, saying he looked forward to meeting him at the Alliance. He promised his support any time, and emphasized that once he entered, they would have a fair duel. Lin Ye nodded, thinking about fresh ideas. They all stood outside, unleashing their energies, as he indicated Baiji. The system rewarded them with a specific perk, and with each dungeon breach, there would be an improvement. He used the key to enter Giant's Demise Forest, and a gateway opened to the forest. The difficulty level of Calamity showed that this area was its home. The area laden with death and demise had no end destination in sight. Mumu pointed out how this dungeon had been separated from the enormous secret dungeons, and that with its difficulty level, no other dungeon could come close. Soon, the foes of this dungeon, Ghost's fallen warriors, started appearing with specific talents, such as Leap Strike and Thrust. Mumu walked forward, telling Lin Ye that she could handle these small ones by herself. She utilized her bionic tears on the fallen soldier, but the attack backfired, as her health plummeted instead. Lin Ye instantly snapped his fingers, enabling healing art, warning her to look out and only release combos as attacks. He instructed her how to move, and added how the new equipment was useful for her. Both of the girls cleared the hurdles with Lin Ye's help, as some odd stink started coming at them. Lin Ye urged them to be careful, since he felt the first boss's arrival. The first boss in question was none other than White Spirit Knight of level 13, with Platinum Aptitude. Lin Ye wastes no time, and uses his Reversal Magic Radiance kind on the knight, and later adds up his fallen hell upon him. Mumu wonders if it perished, but he sees all the sudden movements beneath the wind, and asserts that the knight is still alive. And their first priority is to chip away his health bar, so they may focus on other things. The girls get into their place as told, and combine their skills to make Bionic Tears and Poison Bubble together. The mixed ability keeps hitting the knight until his health lowers to 800. The system improves once again and initiates its bleed debuff. After sustaining constant harm, all of his attributes increase to a greater level as the knight stands tall. Then his parts start vanishing. Mumu feels confused, questioning whether this is his fixed ability to get invisible after 1 quarter. Baiji lets out a scream, claiming that this boss is more hard than they thought. Lin Ye thinks that it must be his last skill till he is undead again. He promises the girls that he will take care of that and orders them to keep tugging his aggro. He goes and finds a position to hide, with his view clear and distance just right. He thinks that the prospect of this being professional rests on his attacks, which will be long-ranged, like javelin. The mechanism upgrades again as the knight acquires a shield around him. As planned, the knight detects Lin Ye's presence and throws his strike like a javelin, but the wind sets aside. Lin Ye emerges from outside with reverse heaven and earth as his defenses grow improved along with his moves. The knight glances at him with astonishment, but in a twinkling of an eye, Lin Ye charges toward him while also triggering his reversing healing plundering attack. He lets the knight understand that his long-range attacks won't work on him, and guesses that something like a charge skill will be employed next, or he would collect his sword. As planned, the knight utilizes charge assault using spiritual power collecting, and Lin Ye defends himself by employing clarity art confinement technique. His qualities get a quick raise as he obtains the active points of the talent, as it's his first time utilizing it. The knight tries to run back to his place, but Lin Ye smirks, knowing that it's already under his trap. Once he passes the blink, his health is dropped instantly while all his powers start decaying, and his skill time ends. The knight still tries to run, but Mumu captures it, asking if he still has courage left to go away. Finally, Lin Ye uses his divine healing, along with Fallen Hell, and descends upon the knight. The system shows that he fought White Spirit Knight, and he leveled up to 9. Baijer leveled up to 7, while Mumu leveled up to 6. The improvement felt fantastic, as Lin Ye proclaims that the level of difficulty proven that it can't be cleared on its own. He directs them on what to do next by following the signposts that will bring them to the second boss. But as he glances up, he could not find any signposts for himself. Just then, large ropes resembling vines come from beneath and seize them and leave them into a pit. He instructs them to roll before landing so they can avoid getting wounded. The 3 of them make it safely to the next step, while Lin Ya eagerly waits for the renowned cursed teacher to arrive. An unexpected onslaught from Moonlight Family puts Lin Ya out before the girls could warn him. When the message goes up announcing that a new monster has arrived with harmful talents, with a level 15 and aptitude of diamond, it walks toward Lin Ya. Lin Ya screams in anger, telling him he's heard about it from the students, and that's why the monster is obtaining so many kills. He shows up without even informing them. When it attacks Lin Ya so fast that he couldn't even respond, Lin Ya shouts in terror, advising Baiji and Mumu to not just duck it, but to block it immediately. When one of them gets injured with its slashing blows, Mumu takes her in her arms, thanking that they accumulated enough points to cure themselves. She concerns that with Lin Ya's strength nullified, they can't be cured by his priest powers. When Lin Ya launches another counter-strike, but to Mumu's surprise, even with thrice the awesome strength of Lin Ya, he still couldn't kill even a fraction of the monster's health. When she decides to take 2 poisonous and freezing attacks, reducing the monster's attack up to 1/3, Lin Ya hits him with the 3rd slash, and then comes slowly onto the ground, telling the girls that the cursed teacher's power strength is incredibly great. He has to keep focused. When the monster raises up again, utilizing his Dark Knight curse added to his mana, when the girls see this, they fear about Lin Ya. He screams not to worry and simply stick to what they chose. He warns them that he will do anything he can to protect the monster from hitting Baiji and Mumu. He adds that even if this one is a tank, he will get the curse instructor monster so tired, using up his mana chasing him. He employs his plundering technique again, slashing and moving back and forth, dodging its strike. When Mumu claims that creatures like this are the ones they face when the reversal of heaven and death happens, he argues that it's the greatest counterattack of bosses, monsters that can take this much skill damage. He grins and smiles like he understands what to do. He thinks to himself that even though he is a tank and ultimate power boss, and they can't do anything right now, they only need to buy a bit more time. Suddenly a notification pops up saying aggro is being transferred, and the cursed teacher monster HP falls down. Lin Ya grins and tells the monster that the cursed teacher's opponent is him, and he will persist on rendering their attacks useless. He shouts, using his looting attacks on him, telling the monster to die, and slashes him onto the ground. The monster rolls onto the ground when the notice goes up alerting them that they have achieved the cursed teacher. The gigantic Black Knight curse has fled from the fortress, and their duty has been finished. When they observe this, they all smile at each other with joy when Baiji reveals that they can even use the curse instructor in dungeons to clean up and help them. He lays his hand on her hair, telling her that it's their success, and that it's why he is always glad to fight these bosses who haven't fought in a long time. He says that bosses like this give tremendous achievements, and when they're beaten flawlessly, they even get so many gifts. When Mumu states, interrupting them, that the system notifications are still coming, they aren't even done yet. She asks herself if there is something more fantastic that can happen to them. When another gold-plated notice comes up, telling them that they have obtained the access pass to the catastrophe-level dungeon, the Forgotten Nest, and another one notifying that the original simulation server, the Guard of the Gate, will now open the Forgotten Nest for them. He smirks again, reminding them that they see how beating a boss flawlessly brings them prizes, such as getting the gates of the Forgotten Nest opened. But when he thinks to himself about accomplishing the work, acquiring the entry pass, and modifying the entry arrangement, he wonders how others will think about this. When they all start to walk inside the dungeon, Mumu becomes mesmerized by sparkling butterflies. Then Baiji asks whether anyone has an issue here and if they are going to aid folks there. She states that no one has to worry about the cursed teacher monster because they already cleared the mission. She smiles. When Linya asks her whether they are all training to become professionals, he says never mind and that they should proceed forward into the dungeon. After some time, after clearing most of the task, they finally come to the end of the forest. Only one lives there, no one else. The setting of the gigantic boss's nest seems rather terrifying considering he is the only one remaining now. The final boss might look like Godzilla with earth-shattering skills, but he is merely a dumb brute no matter what. When Baiji asks that the guidelines specified to stick to its left foot and clip its nails, Linya responds, that's what they have to do. When he arrives, a large creature with the build of Godzilla appears, with long nails on all fours. Mumu cries, telling them the strategy, and when she is about to attack, he adds they are not going to follow the same method as before. He smiles and says, let cursed instructor do the dirty work here, and yells, calling the Black Cursed Knight. He appears in the dark. Linya yells, commanding the knight to assault. The gigantic boss yells, employing the Moonlight Slash. It decreases the HP of the Dark Knight. The Black Knight roars, employing Giant's Barrage, assaulting the gigantic boss. They both assault each other one hit after another, pounding each other. Linya commands Mumu to perform her ultimate, and orders Baiji to enhance them with her enchantment talents. Mumu attacks with Flaming Sword Chi, while Baiji attacks with Bionic Tears and Poison Bubbles. When Linya looks dead in the eye, he vows he will finish this, using the spell Fall in Hell, and they ultimately defeat the big boss. When the pop-up shows up notifying them Linya leveled up to 10, Baiji to level 7, and Mumu to level 8, they all hug in happiness. Baiji yells, asking Mumu that she never heard that someone got upgraded 2 times in a row. She screams that this is great. She cuddles Mumu, explaining that she is a good luck charm. When Linya reads the stats, he explains that's why he added her to the team. When the diamond chest opens, they gain diamond-level talents and platinum-level equipment and 15 free attributes for each member. They gain White Knight Platinum Plate and White Spirit Knight Spear, and also get 3 Marrow Ash, a Heart of Giant portable equipment, and the Giant's level talents that grant a shield for 5 seconds. They now get shield-shattering effects for weapons and lightning paper too. And lastly, Rising Tide, the priest-specific skill, heals all allies within 2 minutes. He looks at it, noting this skill is not awful at all. He says that his reversal talent does not augment these, but it is more like boss management skills. After reversal, the weapon like the spear would debuff and fasten him more. And Rising Tide will help him also, and he has to study Rising Tide as well. He believes to himself that the reversal of heaven and earth is evident, and it can even affect the nature of a skill. Later, he tells the girls that he has to inform the academy in Shangguan about the disappearance of the curse teacher and the lessening of difficulty in the dungeon. He smirks, stating that this will raise quite a stir. The next day in the principal's office, he screams in horror, asking them if Linya wiped out the monster in the dungeon. He smacks his hands on the desk and begs for specifications about the behemoth with Calamity Level 5 and SS rank. The other individual verifies it, adding that once he cleared the dungeon, Linya called him and told him, and when he asked the authorities, they confirmed it too. He tells them that Linya also acquired the admittance pass into the Forgotten Nest. He then relates that only 73 human professionals have ever entered that nest, and out of those, 34 sacrificed themselves and never came out. They cannot attempt a second time. The man with spectacles indicates that Linya needs to enter while stopped at level 15, without advancing to level 16. He thinks Linya is such a promising professional for the Alliance. But once inside, it will all be up to him. The old man says that is excellent, really great, and that all the academies should thank him. He believes they must conduct a commendation ceremony. He explains that previously he considered shutting that dungeon, but it was rejected by all sides. The glasses man adds that quality over quantity matters, and that the weak students should be eliminated. The Alliance will not assist them otherwise. Then a girl walks in slamming the door, apologizing to the principal. She reveals her phone, and says they are encountering some issue with Linya's squad. After the battle, the media started blowing up, dubbing Linya a demon. Some individuals filmed him frame after frame, stating he has an unbreakable gift. She says she admits Linya is a fantastic student and all, but they should take some action since he is the pride of their academy, and they should do something to safeguard Linya's name. The principal informs Sumumu that he understands how she feels. The white-haired man tells her that he would verify everything quickly. People started guessing Linya is a fallen one. The glasses man argues Linya is just a student, so why is everyone criticizing him like that? They are too quick to judgment. The white-haired man says he will go with Sue to verify everything. When Linya arrives, he says he needs a test. He wants a demon aura test, and that is how the word got out. The white-haired man and the glasses man stamp the approval papers. When he appears, people were shocked that he personally ordered the demon aura test. When he talks, everything gets quiet, and apprehension fills the air. He replies that if they are so terrified, then they should not be reporters. A girl tells a female reporter to speak up and questions why she went so quiet. Another one says they were just questioning the partnership, so why is everyone quiet now? When the gathering gets smaller, the demon aura test begins. They tell Linya to walk into the holy chamber. He slips his jacket off and goes in saying, "Here we go." His companion holding his jacket thinks to himself that Linya shouldn't have to do this, because people would always criticize anyhow. Linya claims he isn't worried about the people. He is anxious about the ones who trust him, and he wants them to trust him forever. The test loads up to 15%. They hope for a positive result. Finally, everything completes, and the demon aura test shows 0 demon contact. His friend adds cheerfully that he will get the report printed immediately away. People shout, shocked that there was genuinely 0% demon contact. The audience goes berserk, yelling that the night god is unbeatable and trustworthy. Wang Feng surreptitiously trails Lin and spots him carrying sweets he bought for Su Mumu and Baijir. He instantly starts scrutinizing him, thinking Lin has gotten too easygoing and self-indulgent. While moaning, he suddenly discovers no one else is present, and exactly then our guy lightly kicks him from behind, making him stumble. Huang Feng acts exaggeratedly horrified, but our bro tells out that eavesdropping on someone is even worse. Afterwards, Huang Feng insists he came to provide a warning, stating Lin must have run into the dark thing that tempts mankind. The protagonist downplays it, saying he merely encountered some corrupted persons who wanted to bring him something. Huang Feng accuses him of trying to be tough, and alleges he purposefully enabled Lin to narrowly win so the actual demon would surface. Moreover, he begs our guy to tell the Alliance and aid them trace that creature. After that, Lin responds with sarcasm, saying Huang Feng must be the one the demon targeted, but handed himself in willingly. Indeed, Huang Feng brags loudly about being superior in every aspect, and believes those creatures aren't worthy of influencing him. Our bro thinks to himself that Huang Feng's attitude needs considerable work, but his ability to avoid corruption is actually commendable. Our guy adds that he too has no interest in those dark beings, and that his gifts lie far beyond what they can touch. After hearing this, Feng gets upset, says he doesn't trust Lin, and proclaims that he's going to submit a report. Lin considers reporting the earlier incident to Huang Tiangi, but before he can act, A student fan group from Zhongcheng's first professional academy messages him eagerly, saying they found someone spreading misinformation about him. Our guy asks who it is, and he admits it's Cao Yuan, a classmate who covertly exploited Lin's dungeon tips. He edited them and sold them, and then badmouthed him in private chats, and they even have screenshots. After that, our bro orders them to block Cao Yuan from all future resources and asks them to give the proof so he can write an official statement on the Alliance forum. Some of the students want to confront Cao Yuan physically, but Lin warns them not to jeopardize their future for someone unimportant. He further argues the best punishment for someone who cheated is losing access to things that help them get stronger. He then offers an incentive that if they deliver Cao Yuan over to the academy, they'll get a secret dungeon guide he hasn't shared publicly. After hearing this, the whole group becomes thrilled, asking if such guides truly exist. Lin assures them he can supply tactics for any dungeon they desire, and instructs them to report others who acquired those unauthorized copies too. Those persons will be permanently blocked from his future materials, and our hero then provides a preview of a new Land of Skeletons guide, surprising everyone with how effortlessly he recounts clearing incredibly difficult conditions. The pupils praise him and demand for more. Finally, Lin directs them to spread the word that anyone who buys or spreads pirated versions of his instructions will never receive his actual ones again. The group fires up, talking about fighting pirates and hurrying off to act on his directions. The group declares a harsh new rule that from this moment on, everyone must remove any copied versions of Lin Ye's dungeon instructions. Also, if somebody is detected stealing or hiding such material, he would be permanently barred from obtaining his strategies. Some students grumble about wanting to save money, and a few even defend Cao Yuan, but others immediately shut them down, reminding everyone that Lin Ye put substantial time writing those manuals. They point out that people seek top-tier results while spending nearly little, which is unjust. When someone doubts the quality of his planned releases, the gang recalls the new Land of Skeletons truancy guide, saying they already received a sneak preview. That quickly stimulates everyone, and they start demanding for access. The moderators warn that if anyone tries to defend the rule breakers, their accounts will also be blocked from future material. Many members swiftly erase their illegal files and express their loyalty to Lin Ye, with some even offering large prices merely to join his private group. New people come into the fan group at an astounding rate, all seeking his official guides that cover every major dungeon and update frequently. The protagonist is startled at how fast the gang expands, but he learns that being stern about piracy is more effective than battling physically. By creating clear consequences, he preserves his revenue and prohibits others from undercutting him. After things stabilize, our dude checks his present situation and notes his priest class, his level, and his physical and mental stats. He also lists his high-grade equipment, including the Demon Emperor set, movement and teleportation tools, and a protection ring. His unique awakened talent allows him to reverse power levels, and his skill set extends from recovery abilities to actions that drain adversaries, control space, support teammates, and do large-scale damage throughout the battlefield. The protagonist reviews his awakened skill, which enables him flip the nature of any ability that affects him. At its current state, recovery spells turn into attacks, offensive abilities convert into healing, helpful boosts become detrimental effects, and weakening skills turn into enhancements. Additionally, he can switch this ability on or off whenever he wants. It also modestly lowers the energy needed for his skills and shortens cooldown times, except from limits connected to equipment. To upgrade it further, he needs to achieve level 20 and slay 10,000 monsters utilizing this reversal feature. Further, he notes that the skill seems to be evolving in a highly destructive direction, but he decides to postpone upgrading until after his big exam. With the boost from his recent development, his intelligence figure is close to 150, and he aims to push that base number higher before boosting his other attributes like agility, spirit, and durability. Even today, his supporting figures already position him among the finest in his year. Lin then contacts Zhao Quang to obtain high-quality priest gear. He asks gold-grade items such as a weapon, footwear, a pendant, and a necklace, subsequently supplying explicit specifications. Zhao explains that attaining anything above the gold tier is challenging. So, gold tier options are supplied instead. After checking through the mentioned stats, benefits, and pricing, Lin chose a priest stick, a bone necklace, and a jade pendant, deciding that none of the shoe options match his needs. The cost for those goods comes to 350,000, and Lin adds a request for upgrade materials to increase many pieces of equipment to level 10. Zhao argues that upgrading now may not be efficient, but our bro insists. The total, including all forging expenses, reaches 2.4 million alliance coins, which our hero pays. The products he buys each come with noticeable benefits. The bone necklace strengthens his durability, increases health recovery, and boosts both magical and physical defense. The white jade pendant improves intelligence and spirit, and offers a protecting white bird that shields him from a huge part of receiving magical harm. The priest unique staff boosts intellect and grants a short attack boost to those touched by his healing techniques. Once everything is prepared, Lin begins strengthening his equipment. Lin finishes upgrading all his gear, bringing each item in his regalia set, healing staff, bone necklace, and jade pendant to the highest improvement level. With every piece strengthened, he feels confident that this setup will be enough to get the top grade in the Island of Death, knowing that dungeon prizes there can vary from superb to poor. While he is pondering about this, our hero hears something in his home, and soon finds Mumu silently inside his room, to which the protagonist is surprised she entered without him seeing. Afterwards, Mumu reveals she took his bathroom because the hot water in her room isn't working properly. Lin tries to help, but she soon refuses. She then asks if he has a moment because she wants to discuss something with him. Before continuing, our bro advises her to dry her hair and put on something warm so she doesn't get sick, running off to change as he waits. 5 minutes later, Lin asks Mumu what she wants to talk about, to which she cautiously brings up Baiji. She further says that Baiji previously informed her she isn't totally comfortable with the greatsword class and still suffers when conquering dungeons alone, even after upgrading her gear. The protagonist is startled, as Baiji never mentioned it to him, yet he feels the class is manageable and adds that if they can discover the item needed for a job change, Baiji may switch to something that suited her more. After that, our guy plans to ask Huang Tianqi about it, and argues that Baiji herself must determine if she truly wants a different path. Mumu feels relieved, but as she tries to go, Lin stops her, thinking she has something personal to say. After hesitating, she reveals she sees the distance between them expanding ever since Lin realized his talent and attained level 11. She recalls how they were always together since childhood, anticipating they would stay the closest allies even after gaining abilities. But now she feels overshadowed, feeling the protagonist no longer relies on her because he can win uncommon gifts and catch everyone's attention on his own, while she simply does modest duties. As they advance, she feels more and more like she's holding him back instead of contributing substantially. Our hero tells Mumu she's worrying too much, but she argues that he doesn't realize how depressing it feels to fall behind someone you adore. Moreover, she maintains she doesn't want to depend on him anymore. Hearing that, the protagonist resolves to push her toward better, and tells her that from now on she needs a rigid schedule. No more junk food, no late-night eating and early morning exercising at 5 a.m., unless they have a dungeon to clear. Furthermore, our bro explains the exercise will assist her become speedier. When she questions whether metrics alone determine agility, he points out she hasn't spent enough yet. Overwhelmed, she tears up, and Lin presents her a rare item, the Heart of the Giant, stating it's the appropriate support tool for her right now, especially since her clone ability can amplify its efficiency. Afterwards, he encourages her, telling her she has enormous potential. After hearing this, Mumu swears to stop munching and work harder. Lin groans to himself over how practical gifts appear to motivate her. Then she abruptly proclaims she wants to prove her mimicking talent and confidently lists all the things she can do: massages, cooking, and cleaning, warning him to anticipate her full effort, leaving Lin bewildered. Baiji comes over. Mumu becomes excited after seeing her, and Lin thanks her for handling the errand. After that, Baiji then asks if our hero intended to head into the region of death right away without resting. Suddenly, Lin receives a brief blessing that enhances every chest he wins in a dungeon for the next day. Next, the protagonist swears he's okay and advises the girls they should relax instead. Moreover, our guy proposes that Baiji and Mumu take a break and watch a movie, as balancing relaxation with labor helps them recuperate better. Meanwhile, he uses the stone sword key to open the door to the land of death and picks the toughest option. Mumu panics when she realizes he selected the catastrophic difficulty, but Lin steps inside regardless. The dungeon is characterized as a dangerous zone populated with undead creatures who consume anything alive. To his amazement, the entrance is calmer than imagined. However, as soon as he moves forward, the energy he carries triggers the awakening of multiple powerful undead beings, each one sensing his presence and rising in response, including gold-tier soldiers with strong constitution, moderate strength, and deadly skills like Resentful Fire and Wrath of the Undead. To handle them, Lin summons the Holy Sword crowned, glowing crimson flame. It momentarily improves his powers, causing enormous damage, mitigating incoming damage, and imparting sacred flame effects. Lin deems the sword a shortcut yet readies it for use. The dungeon demands enduring 2 hours under the undead assault. It fights at least one secret realm boss and completes advanced objectives such as killing all bosses, destroying the death altar, and clearing all undead without relying on the holy sword, all before the holy knights arrive. After that, Lin activates reversing the radiance of all the stars and his reversal divine healing procedure. Calamity arrives instantaneously, doing 1,304 damage and wiping off the initial wave of gold-tier zombies in a second, thanks to his completely updated Demon Emperor gear that delivers a 90% healing bonus without having the ultimate talent, Emerald Sea Rising. A second wave appears, requiring the protagonist to break through the wall, head inside to battle the boss, and destroy the Death Altar, relying on the support of his 2 allies. To increase his performance, he employs many objects. A greater acceleration potion to boost movement speed for 5 minutes, a tablet from the Wind Falcon Egg to temporarily improve agility by 50 points, Thunder Drink to maintain a 5-minute continuous Thunder Flash dash effect to further boost speed, and Smoked Earth Chicken to temporarily increase constitution. The protagonist activates his reversal ability. He then investigates the Death Altar, a structure of 10,000 durability, low defense, and no attack power, which constantly calls zombies from the underworld. Also, there are 5 of these altars in the Land of Death, each guarded by a secret realm boss. Destroying one prohibits fresh zombies from emerging in that region, while the ones already summoned stay. Next, he encounters the enormous Zombie Butcher, a level 15 monster, with similar stats in every attribute and various devastating powers, such as Plague Spread, Corpse Toxins, Regeneration, splitting into tiny copies, hook attacks, fatal hits, and a stomach mouth used to consume enemies. Lin uses a reversal control talent to immobilize the gigantic zombie, needing only half a minute before firing a chain of reversal attacks that break the altar and kill the butcher. After it dies, the entity divides into 2 smaller butcher zombies, which he also destroys with the plunder effect. This causes the awakening of 2 big undead bosses, Skeleton Hing and Undead Lich. Afterwards, our hero remarks that despite the dungeon being catastrophe level, the level limit makes it manageable for him. He calls his gold-tier Black Curse Rider to help him for an hour, prepared to fight these awoken bosses. Skeleton Hing, who enhances all nearby undead with powerful auras and group-based tactics. The Undead Lich, a high-level necromancer capable of advanced dark magic like death waves, frost spells, gravity attacks, and blood-freezing methods. After that, Lin issues orders to finish them. The shield-wearing warrior approaches Lin as his master, to which our guy answers with displeasure before instructing him to act. After that, the warrior follows his command and utilizes Moonlight Thrust, striking the Undead Lich. She reacts in pain as her curse shield activates. This shield can refund all magic damage sustained within 3 seconds back to whoever cast it. She cries out again and calls for the Lich King to support her, but our guy steps in, reminding her that he is her actual opponent. He unleashes the reverse flow of the Azure Sea, sending the Lich King into a weakened, withered condition. The shield warrior then performs Rising Dragon Slash with 3 rapid hits, followed by the Lich's explosive curse attack. The Undead Lich tries to counter with Black Hole, intending to destroy herself in the process. Our hero swiftly tells his shield warrior that she is ready to sacrifice her remaining life to draw him down, activating Blood Freeze. It is a suicidal spell that consumes her soul, releases a powerful blast of ice magic, does heavy freezing damage, and locks enemies in place. Shocked by the conclusion, she realizes too late that she has failed, and the protagonist confirms that the target has been defeated and compliments the shield warrior for his work. In the conclusion, the protagonist swings his sword with the fury of disaster strikes, while the Lich King scoffs at humanity and warns that a greater darkness yet awaits. With both the Lich King and the Undead Lich destroyed, the critical goal of eliminating a secret realm boss is completed. This triggers the gateway to open, permitting exit and providing rewards dependent on how many objectives were achieved. Nearby, the Dark-Winged Dragon, previously the Dark Curse Knight's friend, stays completely unused despite their past link. Since this altar has likewise fallen, the undead no longer pose any risk. Our guy believes they should straighten up later and move to the next zone first, because just the final 2 bosses remain. Lin remarks that encountering them here saves him a long trek and extra combat. After that, our bro detects the adversaries catching sight of them, and urges his partner to keep careful. The Death Dragon arrives first, a revived ice-controlling beast enhanced by death energy. It sits at level 15, with diamond-grade attributes and skills that revolve around freezing power, hefty hits, and slowing effects. Beside it is the Daughter of Death, originally an elven ranger who fought for justice before being revived into an evil archer whose enchanted arrows can turn the fallen into zombie followers. Lin jokes that this one-time dungeon is more terrifying than his teacher, especially since it leaves no chance for an SSS rating. He then launches 2 tremendous reversal techniques, saturating the area with overwhelming forces. The Daughter of Death passionately brands him an insignificant human for striking first, to which our gentleman reacts by offering to show her a big surprise. She shoots a deadly pin toward him, while the Death Dragon's chilling breath slams into Lin twice, but his healing counters the damage. His talents wipe one freezing effect, dramatically improve his speed, and considerably raise his strength. The Daughter of Death is startled that her shot failed, despite aiming right at his heart, and understands she must have immunity to control attacks. Feeling something is awry, she hastily orders the Death Dragon to advance first. Health grows in fast bursts, first by 512, then by 539, breaking one frozen effect in the process. Another surge lifts it by 699, clearing the frozen state from Lin as well. During this instant, the Daughter of Death launches a quick shower of arrows toward the shield bearer, although every shot misses to land. Her frustration builds as she learns how rapidly the opponent is traveling. Moreover, she refuses to allow him approach and calls every undead under her command, ordering them to create a wall to stop the enemy. She strengthens herself with silence magic and a draining spell, acquiring greater health. Since her opponents rely on close fighting, she decides to deploy talismans that briefly control living beings. The stronger the target, the shorter the control time, ranging from 1 second to a whole minute, and this control only ends if she is defeated. Under this effect, she can force the controlled target to injure themselves repeatedly for heavy damage until the talisman ends. Even a single second of control is enough for her, and she aims at the protagonist with confidence. During this, the Black Talisman Rider becomes greatly slowed, movement declines drastically, attack speed lowers, and even attack strength decreases. Lin promptly urges for a defensive stance. The rider produces a massive black barrier that considerably reduces damage but slows them much further. The Daughter of Death tries to get around the shield, assuming that once she gets an opening, she can finish the fight. She thinks her opponent is virtually out of health and prepares to strike, planning to move on to the others following. But our guy initiates a reversed spell that cancels adverse effects and ties the enemy. A substantial health recovery follows, and negative factors are removed, shifting the situation in Lin's advantage. The Daughter of Death is startled that Lin is still standing. After that, the protagonist instantly orders a shield charge to stop her action, then follows up with a tremendous upward attack. The Death Dragon falls first, and the Daughter of Death accuses them of battling unfairly, to which Lin reacts with a reversed healing method coupled with destructive force, which ends the Daughter of Death for good. After that, Lin divides the job so that he takes one path, while his buddy clears the opposite side. Our hero feels that once they entirely remove the altar's influence, the dungeon will be finished. Despite its peculiar arrangement, he recognizes the challenge isn't as hard as imagined, and releases an ability that washes across the zombies like a wave, allowing them to do everything in less than 10 minutes, well under the 2-hour restriction required for the 4th job. A system notice verifies they have defeated every undead in the region, and has fulfilled the first 4 objectives. However, our bro senses something is still off. A system alert indicates that the shadow form of the dual-winged angel hero is descending, enabling a 5th hidden task called Destiny's Choice. 2 alternatives emerge. The first is accepting Divine Blessing, which entails handing over every accumulated undead soul to the Holy Sword, and quitting the realm with an immediate S-level rating. Though, not the highest one. The second choice is adopting the Godslayer path, which requires defeating Hero's avatar. Success gets a grade higher than SSS, but failure decreases the score all the way to C. The protagonist learns this means the dungeon hides a rating above SSS, something most people probably don't even know exists. He wonders if senior explorers kept it secret, but then thinks they wouldn't hide it, since barely anyone could trigger such a criterion. Also, he argues that secret realms change, therefore it's likely this upper tier was established beyond human awareness. To him, this new grade feels as unreachable as ancient people striving to reach space. Another notice indicates the Dark Curse Knight withdrawing before its summon cooldown begins. Suddenly, great pressure fills the area, and our guy feels the presence resembles the highest authority of the angelic order. However, the clue says he should be meeting simply an avatar, not the real creature. After that, he looks for where the projection will appear. The system then shows the details. A level 37 shadow manifestation of the dual-winged angel hero, well beyond the recommended level for challenges. Many of its qualities are hidden, but it is plainly meant to dominate death-aligned opponents. When the avatar appears, it confronts Lin directly and commends him for purifying the country. It expresses appreciation on behalf of the Holy Kingdom, proclaiming that the undead deserve to be locked away once more. Afterwards, the angel urges Lin to hand over the holy sword and depart the region. Our hero pauses, pondering why he receives no recompense after clearing every undead in the realm. After hearing this, Angel Hero reacts strongly, dismissing Lin's question as insolence, and reminding him that mortals should be thankful and exit without interfering. Our hero notes how the angel speaks from a place far above mankind, treating humans like throwaway tools rather than comrades. What's more, Angel Hero mentions cleanup work, for which Lin feels there is something else going behind the scenes, something the angel wants credit for, even though Lin was the one who handled the danger. Later, our bro questions this mentality and refuses to let the angel take the praise for his work, to which Hero belittles mankind, calling them insignificant beings created to serve the Holy Kingdom, and accuses Lin of defying sacred will. Our hero decides he won't listen any longer and launches an attack, activating Plunder without hesitation, to which Hero then calls down divine strength as the conflict begins. Angel Hero unleashes devastating assaults, demonstrating every flaw Lin has, yet saying divine punishment will catch him. The angel hits with the scarlet flaming crown and shouts down thunder, but our hero repeatedly refills his health, reversing harm and gleaming with healing light. Even when one attack diminishes his health, he swiftly rebounds and obtains a damage increase. Angel Hero keeps chanting judgment spells, although our bro sees the angel's behavior feels less scary now, almost as if this version isn't the actual form. After that, the angel becomes frustrated, startled that none of the attacks, close range, long range, physical or magical, are harming Lin. Instead, they keep reviving him, to which the protagonist answers, claiming that if the angel had observed how he defeated past bosses, this wouldn't be shocking at all. Angel Hero is surprised that Lin seems impenetrable, and demands to know whether he has some type of invincible power, but Lin states the angel can scarcely injure him at all. The protagonist then launches a reverse talent that slows the angel's phantasm 3 times, leaving it locked in position with diminished strength and protection. He follows up with another reversed healing strike that causes significant bleeding, then another draining move that drains even more health. With these hits, the Phantom Angel collapses, signaling the dungeon's completion. The system awards Lin with a diamond grade chest for clearing it, and another diamond chest for achieving every secret condition, providing him the greatest SSS score. As the realm evaporates, our guy gathers his strength to get a personal prize, and gains a rare morphing weapon called Flashing Spirit Moonshade, unique only to him. Later, the protagonist examines the special weapon he just received, a rare item called Flashing Spirit Moonshade. It is a personal evolving weapon only he can use, and even at its first level, it boosts all his stats and gives 3 modes, one focused on healing, one built for heavy devastation, and one that balances damage with self-recovery. The weapon can get stronger when fed similar priest weapons, unleashing even more abilities. Also, its healing mode enables him replenish others and employ a moonlight-based talent. The destructive mode offers him a devastating area attack, and the shadow mode allows him dodge everything for a moment and teleport. Indeed, Lin notes that the weapon is already powerful enough to rival riches from the dungeon, which makes him question if its eventual rank could transcend the diamond tier. After unlocking both diamond boxes, he obtains various upgrades, extra attribute points, rare equipment, rapid attack skills, accessories like an old dragon necklace, and things with special effects. With all points gained to intelligence, his stats now approximate those of someone around level 20, even though he is just level 11. His gear set, awakened talent, and reversal-based skills make him far stronger than previously. Since his luck buff is still active, he contemplates challenging another dungeon. But when our hero steps outside from the prison, he finds Chao waiting. Chao is enraged, blaming Lin for damaging his reputation, damaging his relationships, and forcing people to push him into quitting school. Meanwhile, Lin keeps calm and remembers how he merely planned to stop Chao from obtaining attribute points, never expecting the situation to reach this extreme. Further on, our guy strikes back with Chao's own rod and demonstrates that Chao's actions involve lying and rumor spreading, not simply taking a guide. During the confrontation, the protagonist detects a dark, unnatural force coming from Chao, and he knows it as demonic energy. Lin understands something is amiss with Cao as a mysterious presence resonates in the background. The voice of Lord Maigao tears into Chao's consciousness, branding him a useless clown whom everyone ignores and despises. The voice pushes him farther into rage, arguing that if he refuses to stay at the bottom, even more people would detest him. After this, Chao breaks down and yells that he wants to kill Lin. At the same time, Lord Maigao tempts him with promises of enormous power, pushing him to lose his humanity and welcome the abyss. In the meantime, Chao eventually caves in and asks for that prohibited strength. His body twists as he transforms into a fallen one. The protagonist sees this shift and instinctively recognizes that an abyss demon has already taken over Cao. Chao laughs madly as the new force washes through him, astounded by the strength burning inside his body. Despite that, our hero gives him one last chance to halt, knowing the regulations explicitly authorize experts to kill a fallen one to preserve innocent lives. If Chao continues on this course, our bro will be obliged to end him. Meanwhile, Cao Wan erupts into frenzied laughing, certain the protagonist is finally going to pay for everything. He unleashes a corrupted sword strike driven by the abyss, and the moment that force impacts, Lin's body is weakened. Plus, his stats deteriorate dramatically. His defenses weaken, and a bleeding effect starts draining his health. At the same time, Lin summons his power. Since Cao keeps on pursuing this fight, our bro prepares his own sword technique, and his blow lands cleanly. Even though Cao now carries abyss strength, the disparity is still too big. Cao, shocked, realizes Lin's strike inflicted considerable damage even while weakened. After that, our guy points out that Cao is still little more than the equivalent of a basic boss to him. Cao refuses to accept it and cries that Lin will perish, accusing him of depending on pure power despite being a priest. During this, our hero plans ahead and decides not to reveal his biggest reversal ability. Because abyss demons are likely witnessing the fight, and if they realize he wields an invincibility-type power, they could flee and notify others, placing him at a disadvantage. Moreover, Lin knows that Cao never had great judgment or proper comprehension of battle. Plus, Cao doesn't even aware there was extra magic damage disguised within the physical hit. Lin now aims to use this encounter as bait to draw out any abyss demons watching from the shadows. Further on, our hero focuses on keeping Cao alive just long enough to bring out the unseen demons. At the same time, he is annoyed by how weak Cao still is. Even after absorbing abyss strength, a swordsman enhanced this much still loses to a priest, which demonstrates how little potential Cao ever had. To the protagonist, he's nothing more than a throwaway pawn. Meanwhile, the demon manipulating Cao begins planning. It wants Lin dead, believing that if Lin falls, Huang Xiaofeng's belief in Lin's might will break, and with that trust gone, Huang may be deceived and dragged into Maigao's army. The demon contemplates two approaches, corrupting Huang through Lin, or convincing Lin directly. In the end, it favors utilizing Lin's death as the spark. During the conflict, Lin loses additional health, yet he heals himself instantaneously with a cleansing ability that negates the bleed. Cao freezes for a moment, stunned by the sudden recovery. At that point, our sibling declares that the one standing before him isn't Cao anymore. Instead, it's the abyss monster wearing his body. In the meantime, the demon sees the alliance is already traveling toward this spot and becomes impatient. It chooses to finish the conflict soon, pressing Lin to die or to commit himself to the abyss. Our hero instantly recognizes that the demon has devoured the bait. He plays along, pretending to evaluate the offer, and queries what the abyss can ever bring that would make joining worthwhile, pushing the monster to expose its goals. The demon, however, feels as its offer alone should be persuading, ignorant that Lin is waiting for time. In the meantime, Cao proudly exhibits the abyss energy swirling around him, acting as if this new strength makes him unstoppable. Lin examines the transition with curiosity, finding the transformation more humorous than frightening. He redirects the conversation toward the demon's interests and casually brings up Huang Xiaofeng, telling the creature how Huang earlier refused its offer and even rebuked its allies. Hearing this, the demon promptly reacts. It snaps that Huang was originally picked by it, but the boy declined and even mocked the abyss. The only reason they still wanted him was because his potential made him an ideal fit for abyssal corruption. Taking advantage of the demon's irritation, the protagonist begins spinning an entirely invented story. He believes he already won the Alliance's trust, and will rise their ranks until he reaches their inner circle. From there, he says he'll quietly hurt everything, bringing humanity into ruin and wiping off the entire Earth. Can't grasp the purpose, and queries why someone so admired would wish to destroy everything. Our bro answers with a chilly explanation that humans claim to be noble, yet step on each other whenever it advantages them. Further, he explains how so-called defenders failed his family, prompting his parents to sacrifice themselves so he may live. To him, the world operates on brutality, not compassion, and no one is guiltless. Hearing this twisted reasoning, the devil is delighted. It believes Lin's resentment is sincere, thinking it has finally discovered someone who shares its perspective. The Abyss Demon tries to lure the protagonist with its might and asks him to join it to obtain ultimate strength, to which Lin appears to accept but truly prepares to attack. He summons his unique Moonlight Sword and initiates its devastating mode. The demon is stunned and cannot respond in time, and understands he has been duped. Moving ahead, our guy utilizes his talents to smash the demon repeatedly, taking advantage of bonuses that make his attack stronger. The demon grows weak and burns, which weakens its attack power a lot. Lin finishes the struggle easily, and the blade begins absorbing the demon's remaining soul. This process boosts the sword's power and all its stats. Indeed, our hero understands that weapons that grow can get stronger by absorbing souls of abysmal creatures, and he wonders if other animal souls could also strengthen the weapon. People close are confused since they can't see what transpired during the battle. They witness someone collapsed on the ground and wonder if the city's qualified specialists have arrived yet. Someone informs them that the city patrol has already been contacted and should reach the area very soon. Meanwhile, Lin thinks to himself that he should disclose the discovery regarding his growth-type weapon, specifically that it can take in the residual soul of an abyss demon to the Alliance. As he is about to go, the patrol unexpectedly appears. The cops quickly point at him and urge him to drop his equipment and place his firearm on the floor. The protagonist wasn't astonished since he expected them to emerge. They shout again, telling him to raise his hands and warning that they can assault if he resists, to which our hero cooperates. One of the patrolling professionals applies a weak poison-type paralysis technique on him. It's supposed to temporarily immobilize suspects so no one gets hurt, and the effect is gentle enough that he doesn't feel pain. These experts are charged for keeping the city secure, and employing paralysis is their usual safety regimen. They then split out to survey the battlefield, care the wounded, chat to the spectators observing, and check for any clues. A little later, one of the cops reports back that the seriously injured guy laying unconscious is a student, but he has evidence of abyss energy inside him, implying he was corrupted by an abyss demon. The cop also notes out that there is a body from an abyss demon at the area as well. The patrol crew inspects the scene and discovers something unexpected: the remnants of a level 20 abyss monster. Its body is covered in blade marks, yet only a skeleton is left, as if something emptied it totally. The officers can't believe that the young man they just restrained might be responsible for killing it. They check Linye's details, a level 11 student from the city's primary academy. The concept that someone at his level destroyed such a thing seems inconceivable, and the cops are startled since they recognize him as the outstanding student people constantly talk about. The squad captain enters and announces himself as Wang Ma Chao from the Alliance's Abyss Demon Extermination Task Force. He orders the paralysis on Lin to be removed and begins questioning him. He wonders if the protagonist was the one who took down the Abyss Demon and whether the gravely injured student nearby turned into a corrupted fighter under the demon's influence. Lin confirms everything and further says that the wounded student is Chao Yuan, who transformed and intended to kill him, thus he responded in self-defense. When the captain questions how the demon was forced into its real form, Lin says that it had been discreetly watching its chosen targets and acted quickly to empower Chao Yuan. Because of it, it briefly showed its true self, giving our bro the chance to trap it. The captain is astonished because tricking an abysmal creature is incredibly tough even for seasoned professionals. Yet Lin not only handled a corrupted opponent and the demon's real form at the same time, but he also managed to leave Chao Yuan alive with exactly 1% health, a level of control even full professionals struggle to reach. Impressed but needing to probe more, Captain Wang respectfully invites Lin to join them to the Alliance branch for proper questioning. One of the troops reacts with surprise when he finds the student involved is Lin Ye, someone widely known for his achievements. Indeed, Wang maintains focused on the emergency, saying that the safety of the city comes first, hence the customary rules must be observed. Moreover, Wang warns that this issue can interrupt Lin Ye's future professional test, and he can't relax the procedure for him. The protagonist keeps cool and gives full support for the team's efforts against the Abyss demons. Meanwhile, another superior steps in and makes a clear decision and announces that our hero does not need to be taken in for interrogation or surveillance. Wang is astonished because this goes against the regular routine and concerns about getting punished for disregarding the rules. The supervisor reassures him by saying that the option isn't his alone. The headquarters president and all department heads have agreed, and they decide to suspend the matter until after our bro completes his professional test. This puts Wang at ease, knowing he won't suffer consequences. The superior brings up Lin Ye's past achievement, revealing that he once vanquished the well-known curse teacher totally on his own and earned entry to the Forgotten Lair. Wang, who always felt the stories were overblown, starts rethinking everything after seeing Lin Ye's calm conduct. He begins to ponder whether the protagonist possesses an amazing talent or a special skill that naturally restrains dark-type enemies. Further, our hero adds that the demon they faced, Migo, is the same monster that earlier sought to influence Huang Xiaofeng, and when that attempt failed, it attacked Qiao Yuan instead. After hearing this, the superior is amazed by how quickly Lin Ye connects the events, so he proceeds without hiding anything. The superior adds that Huang Xiaofeng was shown to have an exceptionally unusual feature associated to corruption, something that emerges in very few people. The protagonist adds further that he manipulated the demon easily, since Huang Xiaofeng persistently resisted the thing, and regularly referenced Lin Ye in front of it. This prompted the demon imagine there was hatred between them, causing it to feel that replacing the protagonist would help win Huang Xiaofeng over. The superior erupts into appreciation, praising Lin Ye for battling the demon, catching the corrupted man alive, and acquiring significant intel, all tasks that even experienced specialists often fail to accomplish. Additionally, he prepares to allow Lin Ye complete his preparations without interruption. Before departing, our bro stops him and says there's one more item he wants to reveal, but it demands solitude, and he gently requests that the space be cleared of everyone who isn't directly engaged. The supervisor instructs Ma Chao to empty the field since Lin Ye told him he needed privacy. He directs Ma Chao to take their allocated team, but leave their supplies for Lin Ye. Ma Chao nods along to his boss's instructions and tells his division to get into formation and clear the field. Soon the military forces step back, leaving Ma Chao with Lin Ye. Ma Chao apologizes to Lin Ye for his rash behavior and hands his phone back to him. Once Lin Ye is confident that no one is intruding their privacy, he returns back to the boss. The boss asks what he wanted to tell him, and Lin Ye presents his moonshade, revealing that the moonshade was gained by him as a weapon after beating Death Valley. It was needed in order to kill the Abyss Demon, and the weapon later absorbed the demon's power within it. The boss is shocked at the endless possibilities, but Lin Ye informs him that very little is known about self-improving weapons like moonshade. Even the best libraries surrounding the city do not have appropriate information on them. This made him ponder about the weapon's usage, if it could kill real-life foes like the Abyss Demon, and level up while doing so. The boss explains that such self-improvement weapons are exceedingly rare, and since the foundation of the Union, only 3 have ever surfaced and were recorded. He says he cannot share classified information, but from what he knows, self-improvement weapons increase EXP through beating foes inside dungeons, and no weapon in real life provides such growth. Lin Ye lifts his weapon and asks if he is the first person ever to do that. The boss grins and nods, praising him for sharing such crucial and personal information to the Union, and trusting them with it. Lin Ye then says he wants to offer his views regarding the weapon. He believes Spectral Moonshade is the first weapon ever to achieve this, but if the first exists, then a second must exist too. He thinks it is not conceivable for the weapon to exist in only one piece. From now on, more weapons or technologies that people are not aware of may develop to combat and battle the Abyss Demons, which he believes is a fantastic thing for humanity. The employer agrees, happy to hear this, but tells him the knowledge must remain confidential. He advises him not to tell anyone, since, according to the old saying, ownership of wealth brings difficulty. And since he holds something incredibly rare, envy would follow. The employer says that there are not many young individuals like him who can see the wider picture. The Union will be stronger and greater with someone like him. He closes by telling Lin Ye that he would inform the higher-ups and they will treat the problem seriously. For Lin Ye, what is crucial now is to take his professional exam and the match, and he is free to contact the Union over this problem. With that, Lin Ye ends the call. He walks toward Ma Chao to hand the phone back. Ma Chao tells him he is looking forward to seeing Lin Ye around the Union and hopes he becomes one of them, and instructs him to call him Old Wang from now on. Lin Ye nods, indicating he would take his leave now, and exits after calling Ma Chao Old Wang. On the opposite side, the boss questions Tianqi about his talk with Lin Ye. Tianqi tells him that Lin Ye is extraordinarily talented, calm, and able to understand the wider picture. Guan Yin is the only other youngster near Lin Ye's age who is like him and just as talented. He says that he previously felt Guan Yin will be the leader of this generation, but now that Lin Ye is here, it is hard to say. The manager laughs, noting that young people have their own way of managing things. But the fact Lin Ye is continually acquiring weapons, targeting demons around dungeons, suggests he is someone with boundless potential. Lin Ye enters his building and yells that he is home after opening the door. Mumu hides behind the sofa, about to yell and scare him. But Lin Ye notices her before she can shout, calling her out for her hoax, instructing him to pretend to get terrified for once. Lin Ye calls her out again for concealing and sneaking snacks at home. She swears him she would work hard. Mumu gets up from behind the sofa, opens her data, and urges Lin Ye to look at her level. She smirks and says she is also level 10 now, leaving him startled by her speedy upgrading. Mumu asks whether she performed good, and if he is content with her improvement, then asks if it's feasible to go to the dungeon together tomorrow. Lin Ye rubs her head and asks with concern whether she is working too hard because he has seen her data. Mumu shakes her head, indicating that she is not. Mumu informs him that it was little Mumu instead of her who went to the dungeons and grinded all night for her. Lin Ye wonders who Tiny Mumu is now, to which Mumu asks if he still hasn't understood that it was her fake tear, because as long as the tear battles alone for her, she will gain the talents and all the benefits along with them. Lin Ye wonders whether she means there is no restriction for time and distance for the tear. As long as her tear fights the realms, it is acceptable and she will earn the rewards. He asks if her tear can combat dungeons without commands. Mumu unlocks her stats and says that it is conceivable, since her imitation tear is in the dungeon Lockless Nightmare right now as they speak. Lin Ye checks at her numbers and tells her that he sees the boss is in the critical stage according to the system reminders, and asks if the fight is close to be over already. He asks if she can monitor little Mumu's moves from the monitor all the time as she fights kingdoms. Mumu bothers him, asking whether he is jealous, to which Lin Ye agrees, claiming that he also wants a helper like little Mumu. He leans in and asks another inquiry about whether the tear ever gets tired, because it does not appear like little Mumu is getting tired if she is traveling to the dungeons endlessly. Mumu stares at him and says she is unable to understand why Master Lin Ye is asking dumb questions. Lin Ye huffs and says he is amazed at how excellent her talent is because he looks to need to rework her level-up plans from level 10 to level 20. Mumu nods but wonders what he means by her level-up intentions. Lin Ye informs her how he has to evaluate her talent and incorporate all the new equipment and talents to build an effective strategy to assist her level up. She agrees to give him the information, but when he asks for her height, weight, and measurements, Mumu gets shy and asks why he needs to know all that. Lin Ye realizes his inquiry and informs her that this information is for higher attribute record rates and tells her to stop thinking crazy things. He explains how her attributes subsequently determine how well her imitation tier can perform during dungeon combat and how this is a technique of optimizing her greatest benefits. Lin Ye goes into full master mode and informs her how slaying a monster from a lower level dungeon doesn't matter, but high level ones matter a lot because the intricacies and slightly wrong measurements in the qualities might change her total outcome in a second, which is also expensive to fix if something like that happens. Mumu tells him that she understands, but it means he may easily ask her dimensions. He understands her viewpoint and switches the discussion to Bai Ji, asking whether she also desires a profession change, and asks Mumu to ask Bai Ji if she is okay giving her data. And it is okay if she does not want to, since it is all about privacy. His carefully planned remarks do not sit well with Mumu as she questions if he truly wants other people's data now, and slams the door on his face. Lin Ye smacks his head, trying to reassure her that he merely wanted to help their teammate. Mumu sits on her bed huffing in rage, asking whether it is vital to give her actual measurements because it seems important to get more stronger. She remembers all the events she has spent with Lin Ye and then takes out her false implants from her chest and measures herself, being upset that her figure still hasn't grown even after drinking all that milk. She asks if Lin Ye will make fun of her. Mumu holds her head in her hands, wondering herself how she always said that she was not lying, but now her image will be shattered. Suddenly she remembers little Mumu, thinking that she can take little Mumu's measurements instead of hers. She calls out her imitation tier after ascertaining that she has finished completing the dungeon. Little Mumu appears perplexed, as Mumu takes a measuring tape and wraps it around her, generating a disturbance in her chamber that can be heard from outside. Lin Ye hears the loud noise from the room and wonders what could be occurring inside when there is only Mumu. 10 minutes later, Mumu steps out of her room, covering her face. She hands over the datasheet to Lin Ye. Mumu explains that she is done with the test and tells him to take a look at it himself, directing him not to share it with anybody. Lin Ye takes the paper and looks at her data. Mumu wonders whether there is a problem with anything, as Lin Ye is making a perplexed look. Lin Ye warns her that the data doesn't appear good. Mumu tries to cover her face and says that it is the same she had from her last physical checkup. Lin Ye tries to warn her about the possibilities, reminding her that if the data is not reliable, their method can fail and won't be effective. Mumu snatches the paper from him, then changes the response to her true measurements and hands the sheet back to Lin Ye in wrath. Lin Ye proudly takes the page and smiles, adding that this data is more correct, then asks if she requested Baiji to give hers. Mumu informs him that Baiji declined, then imitates Baiji's behavior to prove what she meant exactly. She doesn't want the big boss to stress and fuss over something so tremendously problematic. Mumu adds even more flair in her imitation, and continues that Baiji mentioned the big boss already gave her so much nice equipment and resources. She has gained enough attribute points, and how can she possibly ask for more? Mumu takes her phone, revealing Baiji's text to Lin Ye. She expressly clarified that it's not an excuse out of privacy reasons, and that she doesn't think the attribute point formula is meaningless. And to show she trusts him entirely, she sent her latest physical report. Lin Ye sighs, stating that if he didn't know her any better, he would have assumed something else. But since he understands who Baiji actually is, it seems he truly doesn't want him to worry about acquiring her new equipment. He sends the last year's physical report to himself via Mumu's phone, and adds that he cannot let their teammate go without supporting her when she has such incredible skill at her hand. Staying on topic, Mumu tries asking Lin Ye something. He finishes filling up the form and turns towards her. Mumu tells him that little Mumu learned another ability and she just got a notification from the system. The skill is called Soul Summoning Bell, which can be used to summon spirits and make them fight. But it didn't explain what kind of things she can summon with it. Listening to this, Lin Ye gets shocked as he questions in confusion whether little Mumu is also able to conjure objects now, and wonders if they are playing an infinite nesting doll game. Mumu shakes her head, assuring him that it's not the same thing. The thing they perform is unusual since her ability to conjure spirits can only be employed in secret realm dungeons. But Mumu has limits, since she cannot use her skills in reality. And unlike spirits dying in realms, dying in actuality is not the case for her, since little Mumu can be restored. She says that she is only aware of little Mumu because she hasn't tested the others yet. Lin Ye aims to enter the dungeon and test out its special impacts. Both of them enter the dungeon's secret region, Lizardman Tribe. Mumu asks if Lin Ye altered his priest weapon to knife form after viewing his new sword. Lin Ye offers to let her test it out. He shows her the after effects of the strike. Mumu says him that is not so impressive, and urges him to prepare for the impressive skills of her small sister. She utilizes bionic tears and triggers the special skill for Soul Summoning Bell. Soon, the bell appears in tiny Mumu's hands, but the message notifies them that an unknown spirit has heard the bell's ring and made a connection with the realm they are in, and soon it will descend here to battle them. They couldn't even get out of their shock when they heard a tremendous thump, and something really enormous started approaching in front of them. The technology notifies them that Spirit Enormous Tree Protector has descended upon them. The spirit of level 10, with no proper information, stands in front of Mumu. Lin Ye looks at its numbers and understands that it is surely a top-tier boss beyond the gold level. He feels that if Mumu levels up later, she can summon bosses of that particular level. The Soul Summoning Bell is comparable to the item from the Curse Master, except the Curse Master won't die, and it is exceedingly tough to obtain considering the cooldown. Understanding the scenario, Lin Ye encourages her to use the new giant to her advantage. She gets the signal and tells the tree protector to remove the lizard man. The gigantic tree guardian lets out a roar, drawing the lizard man towards him, and uses Heaven Strike. It's an exclusive skill that strikes the enemy with the might of a battle spear, and if another strike is attached, the enemy can no longer survive. Lin Ye looks at the enormous guardian tree's strike. He thinks about how Heaven Strike resembles one of the Goblin King's talents. However, the Goblin King's strike had a considerably wider angle. The damage was also 10 times higher and significantly more severe. He asks Mumu whether he can try fighting it himself. Mumu becomes confused. She quickly declines his request. She advises him to sit back and relax, explaining that the guardian tree person is his partner for now. She says that there is still one boss left. That boss will provide Lin Ye a fantastic opportunity to see how capable he truly is when fighting solo. Lin Ye shakes his head at her tantrum. He says that she misinterpreted him. He reveals that he was talking about fighting with the bionic tears. Little Mumu is instantly shocked. She hides behind Mumu, who shields her protectively. Mumu fiercely denies his plan. Lin Ye asks why she refused him. Before she can answer, he changes the conversation. He asks Mumu to make the giant guardian trees stand by till the next region. He explains his argument. When the Lizardman chief appears, they can all observe the combat. The chief will be a better test of the Tree Brothers' skills. After that, Lin Ye will do the rest himself. He immediately changes his shape into the Blade of Destruction. He has slain the Lizardman guard. Mumu questions in disbelief how a basic level attack could deliver such significant damage. Lin Ye continues assaulting the Lizardman. At the same moment, he muses on something he hadn't observed before. He never completely comprehended the advantages of spectral moonshade. In the past, he mainly dealt long-range damage. He accomplished so by reversing the numbers on healing skills. Now he can use spectral moonshade directly. It allows him to attack at a considerably higher speed. It also consumes less rage. The advantage is comparable to before. However, these attacks are confined to ordinary monsters. Enemies like angelic ghosts tend to ignore physical damage completely. Because of such, Lin Ye still has to rely on reversed healing skills. Those talents ignore all defenses. They are the fastest way to defeat formidable foes. With that method, he finishes off the Lizardman. He then enters destruction mode. In a short time, he kills out the entire Lizardman group. Mumu sees his developing strength. She convinces herself that she cannot fall behind him. Little Mumu sends an order and tells the Great Guardian Tree to join forces with her and exterminate all remaining enemies. Lin Ye moves back, and he instructs the tree to show off. Meanwhile, he calmly heals himself and turns his blade shape back to the Blade of Salvation. He believes this is the best moment. It is time to experience the strength of Moonshadow between the Fishers united with Oath of Ocean and Moon. With those abilities active, the three of them push ahead. They continue slaughtering foes until they reach the Lizardman's clan. At the tribe, 300 lizard warriors wait ready to confront them. Mumu points out the obvious. 300 lizard warriors should be able to deal a large amount of damage. Lin Ye tells her to trust him, and he promises to keep the tree man alive. For now, his attention is focusing on recovering. After stating that, he issues another order. He urges the giant tree guardian to dash for the wall and break it. The tree guy sprints forward, and his speed increases considerably. He crashes at the wall and smashes it apart, entering the warriors' formation. Little Mumu follows closely behind as she fights the warriors, trying to hold them back. Suddenly, Lin Ye activates the Moonshadow form on the tree guy. This makes the summoner invulnerable to all damage for 3 seconds. It also enhances movement speed and allows assaults to remain at a great capacity. Lin Ye believes to himself that this miraculous spell shields and attacks. He then summons an illusionary moon jellyfish. It takes power from the moon, which further amplifies their assaults, and the effect lasts for roughly 15 seconds. At that point, the Lizardman chief finally comes. Little Mumu stands aside and tells the Great Guardian Tree to confront the Lizardman chief. She wants him to show everyone what he is capable of. The tree man charges toward the chief. Lin Ye watches intently and remembers that the tree man only receives commands from Little Mumu as she is his summoner. Lin Ye examines the exchange of blows. He gathers information from the fight. He rapidly discovers that the tree guy has a disadvantage in close-range combat. After assessing the issue, Lin Ye decides to interfere. He turns his blade back to the Blade of Destruction. He unleashes fallen hell upon the enemy. In an instant, the dungeon is cleared. The tree man suddenly speaks and points toward Lin Ye. He claims that he can sense that this master is exceedingly strong. Lin Ye turns toward the giant guardian tree. He asks what it was just saying. Suddenly, the giant tree guardian kneels in front of him. It states that before returning to the spirit realm, it has something it wishes to ask. Lin Ye is taken off guard, and he wonders what the guardian tree wants to inquire. At the same moment, he begins to think. The guardian tree is a sentient entity from another realm. It was only summoned by the soul summoning bell. That this summoning can only happen once. If the guardian tree dies, it cannot be regenerated. He recalls the curse instructor. That being also possessed memory and intelligence. Yet it was merely an illusion manufactured by his summoning item. If the curse instructor were slain, it would just revive again. Lin Ye softly hides his destruction power under his hand. He then asks what the guardian tree wants from him. Lin Ye poses another question. He wonders whether intelligent beings from other realms are akin to abyss demons or the angels they have encountered before. He worries whether such beings pose a threat to humanity. The giant tree guardian replies solely with the Forgotten Lair. This explanation confuses Lin Ye even more. The guardian tree continues speaking. It states that it wishes Lin Ye will bring its master to the Forgotten Lair. It explains that Lin Ye carries a particular mark. That mark grants him the authority to enter their lair. It adds something extra. Its master likewise carries the same mark. Because of this, Lin Ye can take her along as well. Lin Ye questions who the master is and asks who the guardian tree itself truly is. The giant tree guardian points toward little Mumu. It answers that it is only an ordinary nameless soldier. Lin Ye falls silent. Then after a moment he directs the tree guardian to rise up. Just then, a system notice appears. It asks whether he wants to open the reward chest now. Lin Ye tells the tree guardian that he still has to confirm things. Only after that will he contemplate consenting to its proposal. He then instructs Mumu to go. Mumu sees the dramatic shift in Lin Ye's demeanor. She wonders what might have gone wrong so abruptly. Meanwhile, Lin Ye continues thinking. Normally, a professional's talent is under the entire authority of the awakened individual. A talent cannot exist without its professional. Awakening a talent is the essential foundation of becoming stronger. Essentially, the professional and the talent exist in a symbiotic relationship. Once the professional dies, the talent disappears. This stays true no matter how powerful that talent may be. Even summoned creatures with intelligence would automatically protect their own master. The thought that bionic tears can call a creature from another realm disturbs him. What bothers him more is that this creature acknowledges Mumu as its master. She even owns a pass that enables admission inside the Forgotten Lair. When Lin Ye thinks of Angel Kuro's projection, a shudder runs through him. He realizes that Mumu could be in danger. Worse then, humanity itself could be at peril. He tells himself that he must address this situation as quickly as possible. Lin Ye approaches toward Mumu and tells her that something essential has come up. He asks her to stay behind or finish clearing dungeons without him. Mumu observes his attention linger on little Mumu, and she questions whether something is wrong. Lin Ye shakes his head and indicates that he might need to take some time off. After that, he makes a call and asks whether the other party is free right now. He later encounters Huang Tiandu in Zhang City Center. Uncle Huang wonders what pressing matter drove Lin Ye to rush to meet him in person. Lin Ye wonders whether Uncle Huang or the Alliance is aware that he is eligible to enter the Forgotten Lair. Uncle Huang laughs and asks whether Lin Ye wants to learn more about that dungeon. Lin Ye recalls how Tianqi was the one who originally brought up the topic. He wonders whether the Alliance wants him to pass the professional test first. He feels they are anxious about his state of mind. Uncle Huang smiles and confesses that this is indeed one of the reasons. However, he thinks he can still supply some information. He argues that Lin Ye likely does not realize the underlying danger of that dungeon. Uncle Huang explains further. The Forgotten Lair is dozens of times harder than any dungeon Lin Ye has seen so far. Even the weakest monsters inside are at least diamond rank or higher. Many challengers have died before they even had a chance to escape. Lin Ye questions whether the threat comes from a lack of equipment or merely from the diamond tier monsters. Uncle Huang affirms that both are correct. Still, people continue to enter the dungeon. He explains why. Defeating the boss gets legendary rank items. If someone joins single, they may even obtain mythological equipment and skills. Lin Ye comes to a realization. The Alliance does not want him to become arrogant. If he enters that dungeon believing himself to be invincible, like Shofeng, he will die instantaneously. Lin Ye asks what rank is required to access the Forgotten Lair. Uncle Huang says that the minimum need is level 15. However, he strongly recommends waiting until level 20. Lin Ye reassures him that he is not reckless. He promises that he will make adequate preparations before entering. Uncle Huang then redirects the conversation. He reveals that the Alliance has recently taken an interest in exploring the demons of the Abyss and the Fallen Ones. He mentions a terrible fallen entity called as the White Clown. It has appeared recently. They have also obtained intelligence. Many Abyss apes are hiding within the Alliance itself. With this position, the Jiang City Alliance is poised to take strong action. As experts, they must maintain peace and avoid history from repeating itself in disaster. Chairman Huang instructs Lin Ye to pay great attention to his messages, that the modifications would soon be made to future arrangements. This surprises Lin Ye. The chairman then reveals the explanation. The Alliance has declared a citywide lockdown. Internal personnel are undertaking a cleanup process. Corrupt professionals are being discovered and temporarily quarantined. He also emphasizes that with the next vocational test, these crooked persons would be dealt with. The news has not been disclosed yet to minimize needless alarm. He closes by asking Lin Ye to focus entirely on his education. The Alliance will handle the rest. Before the meeting closes, Lin Ye takes a sip from his glass, adding that he still has a question. He asks whether betrayal is possible. Specifically, he asks if a summoning type awakened ability could betray its professional, if the summoned beings come from another world and possess self-awareness and memory. Chairman Huang shakes his head. He denies the possibility. He explains that awakened skills are symbiotic. They are powers grown from inside. They live and die beside their pros, much like devoted allies. Because of this, it does not matter what is summoned or from which realm it comes. It will never threaten its summoner. Even if the summoned beings possess intelligence and different personalities, they nevertheless obey completely. To reassure him further, Chairman Huang says that this has been tested in battle. Even high-level control abilities that affect ideas cannot make summoned entities attack their summoners. Lin Ye then asks about a specific example. He asks what would happen if the summoned being were an abyss demon. The chairman reassures him again, claiming that still would not happen. Such talents exist within the Alliance. In these circumstances, abyss demons attempt to entice mankind into joining the abyss. Instead, those professionals integrate into abyss forces. They become informants. Their function is to convey the movements of abyss powers. After all inquiries are answered, Chairman Huang drops his glasses. He asks whether Lin Ye is the one who awakened such a talent. Lin Ye answers honestly, admitting it is not him. It belongs to a friend and teammate. As he ponders the exchange, Lin Ye realizes something essential. The Alliance will ultimately find that the biomechanical rip is being taken inside the Forgotten Nest, just as the enormous tree guardian asked. To dispel the misconception, Lin Ye explains further. He tells the chairman that his friend's summoned being felt his passage authorization. It requested to enter the Forgotten Nest together. This revelation surprises Chairman Huang, making him stand up immediately. He is shocked that the summoned entity claims to have a passage permission as well. Lin Ye confesses that he questions the claim. Chairman Huang walks toward the window. He reassures Lin Ye once more. He says that the entity will not betray Lin Ye or his friend. However, he advises disclosing the situation to the Alliance in advance. Chairman Huang refers to the summoner as a promising big shot. He tells Lin Ye not to worry. As long as the Alliance determines that the being was not summoned through an illicit ritual or evil power, it will not be limited in human cities. He assures something else as well. Lin Ye's summoner friend will not be investigated. Instead, she will be respected and fostered. She will gain full access to resources, training, equipment, and future rewards. Lin Ye eventually feels relieved and says that he dislikes feeling tight and out of control. Chairman Huang notices that Lin Ye has completed asking inquiries. He then gives an autopsy report. It concerns an abyss demon. He explains that a senior prosecutor viewed the corpse. The conclusion was that it was slain by a specific magical strike. Although the demon appeared scorched, its cells and organs suffered immediate weariness and atrophy. They stopped operating totally. The impact recalls old-time paraquat poisoning. Chairman Huang asks Lin Ye a question. He questions whether his awakened talent is poison milk. He hands over the report. Lin Ye is impressed by the depth of detail. After reviewing it, Lin Ye confirms the truth. Chairman Huang smiles and adds that the Alliance had been disputing on the cause of death. That argument will now cease, and the credit belongs to Lin Ye. Lin Ye appears bewildered, to which Chairman Huang is astonished by his reaction. He asks whether Lin Ye is unaware of the bounty placed on abyss demons. Before Lin Ye can answer, the chairman explains. The Professional Alliance awards merit for every abyss monster slain. He tells Lin Ye to wait for the award ceremony. The rewards include platinum-level optional equipment, skill books, rare materials, and unusual items. Lin Ye can specify what he wants. Feeling excited, Lin Ye asks whether the products can be shipped to him. When Chairman Huang agrees, Lin Ye asks for permission to go. He wants to take his comrades into another dungeon. As Lin Ye stands up, Chairman Huang wishes him luck. He encourages him to take first place in the vocational test and bring respect to Jiang City. Seeing his enthusiasm, Lin Ye quips. He asks whether the chairman is placing wagers on him. Chairman Huang hesitates and both of them break into laughter. Later that afternoon, Lin Ye observes Baiju wandering along the town streets. He approaches her and asks what the situation is. Baiju turns around to face him. She says that she has made a decision. She has agreed to give him her data. As she finishes speaking, she hands him a file. It contains all of her personal combat data. The gesture surprises Lin Ye. He is taken aback by how much trust she is placing in him. After a little delay, Lin Ye makes a decision of his own. He resolves that he will not let her down. He tells her that after her level hits 2, he will take her into the next dual instance dungeon, based on the calculations he will perform using her revised data. They will next decide if she should alter her class. The news hits Baiju hard. A strong surge of happiness washes across her face. Without wasting time, she happily heads toward the next dungeon. Her goal is clear. She wants to boost her level as rapidly as possible. Lin Ye opens his mouth to say something more. However, she has already rushed away. Seeing her joy, he decides not to interrupt her or dampen her enthusiasm. Now, to finalize his calculations, Linye plans to base them on their last 3-person dungeon run. He will integrate that information with Baiju's existing physical data. He examines the available records. All the relevant information is available. The skills data is complete. The equipment data is likewise complete. However, there is a problem. Because the last dungeon featured 3 persons, Baiju's individual data is not totally accurate. Speaking of Baiju, her present performance is not particularly spectacular. Aside than her lucky buff, there is little that genuinely sticks out. Because of this, Linye plans a backup plan. He wants to ensure that she can pass the final exam. At the same time, he must keep her genuine talent disguised. Luck alone will not be enough. Somewhere deep inside a dungeon, a group of 4 evil followers is holding a secret meeting. Blackfist speaks first, saying that they should prioritize eliminating the one who murdered their lord, Meigao. Card interrupts him and warns the party that the Adventurers Alliance is watching everything. If they show their abyssal powers, they will be detected. Once exposed, they risk being detained by the extermination team. After that, Card discreetly flirts with Fox, the woman in their group. While doing so, he mocks Blackfist, calling him huge and clumsy. Blackfist exhibits apparent irritation at Card's remark. However, Fox ignores it. She states that she is more concerned about something else. She adds she is apprehensive about who their master will send as their next commander. To her, that matters more than Meigao's death. She then asks the group whether they should proceed ahead with the assassination plan. Smoke Demon reacts arrogantly. He agrees without hesitation. Blackfist talks again. He adds that they do not need to suspend their operations. They can continue operating behind the scenes without personally stepping in. Smoke Demon adds his own opinion. He adds it does not matter if the target is Lin Ye, the extraordinary student, or Shangguan Yan, their initial goal. He explains his confidence. The power of the item Catastrophe Bringer will take care of both. This rare item enhances a dungeon's difficulty to a catastrophic level. As Blackfist admires the Catastrophe Bringer, confusion fills his head. He cannot comprehend why their lord would use such a valuable artifact. In his opinion, their team alone is more than capable of conquering their foes. Card looks down on him as usual. Without warning, he tosses 2 cards toward Blackfist. They stop just shy of his skull. Card criticizes him, insulting his logic. He replies that believing the alliance would allow them to kill its most protected target is nothing more than a simple path to hell. Fox observes Card's arrogance and encourages him to calm down. She reveals that Blackfist is just uncomplicated, and his intelligence is not exceptionally great. Blackfist sits seated and stays calm despite being mocked yet again. Card, however, grows even more furious. He complains loudly about having stupid colleagues. He labels Blackfist a bald donkey and predicts that he will eventually bring ruin onto the team. Before Fox can warn Card about his caustic tongue, Blackfist suddenly rises up. To everyone's amazement, he bows his head toward Card and apologizes. Smoke Demon quickly tries to stop him. He informs Blackfist that his strength considerably outweighs Card's. At that point, the Catastrophe Bringer began to glow brightly. The light rises higher into the air. A command echoes directing them to welcome their master. The 4 of them kneel down. Within the light, the reflection of their master appears. Addressing Magao's death, the master declares his choice. Another Abyss Demon will be sent to lead them. An evil fallen will assist as well. He then reveals the name of the evil fallen, White Clown. Smoke Demon reacts swiftly, indicating that they already know him. White Clown has killed nearly 1,000 people, and among them are more than a dozen high-level adventurers. He has set an infamous record. The way Smoke Demon speaks helps its master comprehend something. They do not want White Clown involved. When probed for the cause, Smoke Demon explains further. With White Clown's strength, he would be a threat to their own lives. For that reason, Smoke Demon refuses to act if White Clown enters Gen City. After Smoke Demon's declaration, the dungeon grows silent. The mood grows heavy and unpleasant. The master suddenly smiles and praises their method of thinking. He informs them that their rejection carries worth. White Clown does not have the authority to restrict them or act alongside them. He explains further. White Clown has been assigned to Zheng City for a different mission. He will take over their original mission of killing Shangguan Yan. At the same time, White Clown will cover for them. He will help them complete a new task. Their new target is Huang Xiaofeng. After those 2 jobs are performed, the master ensures something else. Once this once-in-a-lifetime fallen genius completes his tasks, they will be free to deal with Lin Ye. The master then gives them instructions. He tells them to keep their identities disguised. They must follow the same plan as before. They will toss the Catastrophe Bringer into the Ultimate Test's secret world. This will infuriate the dungeon boss. By doing so, they can kill Lin Ye without suspicion. They will make the professionals regret everything. Smoke Demon finally speaks his worry. He asks whether spending such a valuable item on Lin Ye is truly worth it. After all, the item can permanently drop diamond-grade equipment. Black Fist adds his opinion and encourages continuing to gather diamond-grade equipment. Once their master is strong enough, he can kill anyone he wants. Smoke Demon presses further. He points out that Lin Ye's threat level should not exceed Shangguan Yan's. If they must use the item, would it not be better to use it on Shangguan Yan instead? The master finally reacts and reveals more knowledge. The professional association is covertly hiding the information that Lin Ye has acquired a certification certificate for the Forgotten Nest. Because of this, Lin Ye's life is now more precious than that of the Lin Yun sect's leader. As a result, Shangguan Yan's covert protectors have altered their emphasis. They are now defending Lin Ye instead. This makes it incredibly difficult. Even with White Clown's cooperation, injuring Lin Ye would be practically impossible. Once the group understands the problem, the master makes a guarantee. He will take them to the abyss for baptism. They will become true abyss fighters. However, he adds a restriction that if they fail, they will never obtain deeper abyss powers. The next day, during the award ceremony, the principal praises Lin Ye's achievements in front of everyone. He says that Lin Ye is deserving of earning a certification of recognition. Whispers rippled throughout the gathering. People speak in awe about how scary Lin Ye is. He overcame Shao Kan and made Director Huang apologize. Now he has even killed an abyss monster alone. The whispers continue, and people claim that he is already the top-ranked pupil. They think he will likewise dominate the final exam and become a leader once he joins the alliance. Mumu feels proud as she listens. However, the tone switches. People begin concerned that Lin Ye may become a target for abyss demons. Mumu grows apprehensive as well. Still, others reassure her. They argue that abyss demons are cowards who would never dare fight professionals front-on. While Mumu sulks over Lin Ye not alerting her about the danger, the principal goes forward to offer the certificate. Once again, he compliments Lin Ye's amazing actions. He called him the future hope of the alliance. Lin Ye feels flattered by the attention. He responds modestly. He states that every professional is a hope for removing the abyss forces. After that, he is gifted with various platinum-grade equipment pieces and talent books. He hesitates and adds that he cannot take all of them, as he would not utilize many anyhow. As he considers the choices, he realizes something. Although the metrics are appealing, they do not bring much improvement. He chooses 3 products: Invigorating Belt, Swift Boots, and Holy Light. He recalls that Holy Light is a skill of the White Spirit Rider. If reversed, it might dramatically diminish enemy qualities or perhaps produce berserk effects. As he gets the items, he calculates further. With Swift paired with the Ancient Dragon Necklace, he obtains a 50% reduction to movement delay effects. This fully counters agile bosses. It also fills a void in his attributes. The crowd admires his developing strength. The principal closes the ceremony. He tells the students to return to studies, enter dungeons, and prepare for the exam. Before Lin Ye leaves, the principal stops him. He exposes something essential. The alliance has discreetly assigned people to protect him. Today's public praise was purposeful. By placing Lin Ye in the spotlight, it becomes tougher for abyss forces to act against him. Lin Ye confirms that he understands. The principal then asks about his plans. The last profession test is only 3 days away. Lin Ye answers honestly. He aims to enhance his equipment to level 10 and pass the test alongside his teammates. At that moment, the principal's wristband beeps 3 times. Urgent information has arrived. He asks Lin Ye for the names of his teammates. He tells him to come along. There is something he needs to discuss. Inside the principal's office, Lin Ye delivers information about his teammates. He says that Sumumu is doing well. However, Baichi worries him. She lacks strong talent. On top of that, she is pondering a class change. The principal jokes lightly. He thinks that she must have some ability if Lin Ye chose her. He then becomes serious. The exam will not give anyone special treatment. However, if she passes, her future will not be an issue. She will not be excluded from the school. The principal tells Lin Ye to rest. He should focus on leading his team and preparing. With that, he hands Lin Ye a note. He calls it his actual prize. It contains the alliance's plan. Inside the Lizardman dungeon, Baichi continues fighting. She cuts down Lizardman with her blade. Lin Ye appreciates her attack range. He tells her to trust her judgment and enhance her reaction speed. She follows his advice. She fights more decisively. She dodges the boss's attacks more neatly. When the Lizardman raises its weapon overhead, Lin Ye gives another instruction. He advises her to retain her angle, as it is excellent. He tells her not to hesitate, and she obeys. She beats the boss, and Baiji gains level 2. She obtains a new skill, Lucky Hands. It boosts gold drop rates. It also entirely prevents undesirable class outcomes. This ability is a personal, exclusive passive, and no one else can utilize it. Winye praises her development, instructing her to stop hesitating, and she should trust his directions. Even yet, Linye feels uneasy. He previously believed she was suitable for exceptional swordsmanship because of her innate strength. Now he questions that. He asks whether she actually wants to change classes. She becomes confused and asks if she did something wrong. Linye reassures her, while he says that he realizes how hard she has worked. He knows about her acquired strength points. However, a class change worries her future. Simply expressed, her constitution is not suited for a superb swordsman. If she forces this course, she may inflict irreversible damage. That would end her career. Once Baiji understands, Linye adds that changing classes takes clearing a difficult solo dungeon. Only she may enter it. He cannot propose a strategy. She may get harmed and may lose hope. Even said, passing the exam will revolutionize her battle experience. He pats her head and tells her the choice is hers. No matter what she decides, she will remain part of his squad. Moved by his words, Baiji reflects on her comrade's progress. Sincerity. Despite being a support buff, she has always been handled genuinely. She expresses her choice to change classes, to which Lim Ye feels relieved. After clearing another boss, the two depart the dungeon. Baiji feels dizzy, weary, and nauseated. At the entryway, they meet Sumamu, as she complains that she could not find them. Tomorrow is the final test. Lin Ye walks over to her and tells her not to worry, showing her the letter, and calls it a surprise. At the professionals' exam site, students are anxious about their tests, praying they won't screw up. When they take a peek at the dungeon boss's stats, most of them feel despondent about conquering it and ponder what to do. By the time Lin Ye and his team arrive there, the place is already too packed. As the girls prepare to enter, Mumu sees her parents shouting for them from the non-student spectator area while carrying a board with their faces on it. The protagonist confusedly asks Sumamu why she didn't notify her parents about the plot, to which she answers that she couldn't let them know. This makes him realize that the material is indeed very classified for them to not even hear from other channels. Right then, Zhang Heng, the city's lord, enters and greets the students gathered there. He announces that this year's professional test is being delayed for 3 days due to some unforeseen turn of events. Therefore, the reason they are all assembled here is something else. This news produces a condition of perplexity among the crowd. They begin to gossip about what could have gone wrong and wonder if the monster tide is coming for them again. When they continue to dispute whether it's about the fight in the west of the city or the infiltration of the otherworldly monsters, the city lord silences them by stating that the city has some special recruit for the first time. The city lord then adds that according to the new regulations from the professional organization, the special recruits would have to challenge a special dungeon instance alongside their comrades before the final professional test. This challenge will be broadcast live and recorded for all the students to see and learn from it. With that said, he announces Lin Ye as the first special recruit of the city of Zhangheng, a professional academy student. This spreads a wave of surprise and gladness over the students gathered there, and they all gaze at the protagonist with admiring eyes. The word reaches the evil follower group, and Card informs Smoke Demon about both the final test getting postponed for 3 days and our lad getting announced as the special recruit in Zhangheng. He further says that the dungeon out guy will solo challenge, which is essentially the original final test dungeon. When Smoke Demon asks him whether he has already deployed the Catastrophe Bringer, Card agrees before considering it too much of a coincidence that the Alliance hasn't moved to a new dungeon. Over Card's worries about the situation, Smoke Demon encourages him to rest comfortable, since their master just ordered them to deploy the Catastrophe Bringer and ensure the assassination target enters it. Therefore, he urges Card to only confirm that the protagonist has entered the dungeon where the item has been placed, and then promptly join the crew at the base without wasting time on anything else. In a frantic state, Card assures him that he has already activated the trap without anybody noticing, not even the city lord. Smoke Demon posits the prospect of the patrolling experts noticing the abyssal aura on Card, or them witnessing the complexity of the dungeon shift and opting to seal off the entire venue, which would finally result in Card's permanent destruction. He uses his concealment spell and declares that he would return as soon as possible. Since he has been keeping watch from that side, he gets to know that the target is about to enter the dungeon. He then asks Smoke Demon about whether Blackfist has dealt with Huang Xiaofang in the black market or not. Smoke Demon verifies that it has been done, albeit they are yet to reach Bai Xiaoqiu. He then tells Card not to worry about the individual, since his life or death doesn't concern him as long as Shangguan Yan gets slain. Back in Zhangcheng City, the city ruler calls Lin Ye and his squad upstairs. The students keep excitedly saying how Lin Ye deserves to be the special recruit because of his large contribution to the professional association and god-level awakened talents, which even Huang Xiaofang never had. Once the protagonist arrives to the top where the city lord is, the city lord urges him to just stay there for a while, since the principal must have told him the news in advance. Upon his confirmation, the city ruler unlocks a door to access the unknown dungeon, which Lin Ye and his colleagues explore to acquire Return Bone Fragment. After using it, they can easily depart the dungeon right immediately. Suddenly, the group gets a warning about the Return Bone Fragment being unable to be used when under attack. Another warning warns that the dungeon's difficulty has escalated to disaster level due to the impact of Catastrophe Bringer. This affects the Return Bone Fragment, and it begins to disappear, making it impossible for them to escape the dungeon. Right then, they are assaulted with blistering heat, which is too harsh for them to handle, and they realize that the dungeon has been altered. Under the power of the Catastrophe Bringer, the dungeon's underlying structure has evolved, spawning new layouts and dungeon creatures. But some elements remain untouched, hence they are requested to survive nevertheless. The second the three of them enter the secret realm, Lin Ye commands formation quickly. He urges his comrades to assemble in the defense formation practiced during earlier exercises. Lin Ye looks back, reminding himself that Yonan Forest's last boss comprises of 3 intelligent humanoids. He reveals that at the golden level, their greatest obstacle comes from simultaneous concentrated attacks. The examination focuses on clearance length and exact facts regarding the lowering of their health. Mistakes in fight do not matter because unnecessary health would be wasted owing to overuse. Baija huffs, noting that the dungeon's hardness is modest but suddenly feels hazardous. The Corrupted One's meddling has upped the dungeon's challenge much beyond the original intention. Outside the professional exam entrance venue, spectators stand and observe the stats of the team. Some recall how Yonan Dungeon almost lost them their lives during professional examinations previously. Others curse the Corrupted Ones, thinking they want exam takers to die for pleasure. Some sat quietly, observing Lin Ye's fight against the strengthened bosses, watching closely for safety. Others pray silently for Lin Ye's protection, fearing the loss of another bright brain. Amid these heated conversations, the Corrupted One remains concealed, conspiring against the arrogant genius. He thinks that Lin Ye's stupidity and hubris would eventually lead to his downfall. Back in the secret realm, Lin Ye warns his teammates about alterations from the Catastrophic Bringer. He notes that so far, only high-temperature flames appear, but mobs and landscape stay untouched. Just then the first foes appear, half-serpent humanoid beings rising from the surrounding forest. Mumu notices that they have been waiting patiently for Lin Ye and his team's arrival. These half-human, half-snake creatures dwell Yonan Forest, striking with daggers and poison blow darts. They like lurking in bushes or tall grass, ambushing opponents with rapid surprise strikes repeatedly. The snakes commence their attack instantly, allowing a poison arrow contact Lin Ye's shoulder. Lin Ye shelters himself and counters utilizing the surprise attack spell, Azure Sea Tide, effectively. The serpents scattered to dodge, hoping to escape the harm and rejoin with caution. Lin Ye collects his teammates, distributing them to different spots throughout the battlefield strategically. He asks Mumu to employ Gale Butterfly to collect the 5 serpents hiding nearby secretly. Bai Ji is told to charge toward another place and engage further hidden adversaries immediately. Mumu nods and activates Little Mumu, then releases Gale Butterfly at the specified targets. Lin Ye informs her of the serpents' hideouts and instructs her to mix spells. She uses Flamestorm first, followed by Ignite, then a Frost spell to freeze them. Ignite sets the serpents ablaze, leaving them in a continual state of scorching anguish. The Frost spell freezes them solid, immobilizing their motions totally and preventing any counterattack. Little Mumu releases her sword, instantly destroying all 5 serpents with precise lethal hits. Lin Ye observes his colleagues fighting together in perfect harmony, alert for any danger. A hiss abruptly informs him to the presence of the remaining concealed serpent adjacent surreptitiously. He transforms into destruction mode, whirling fast to meet the serpent and strikes promptly. A single basic attack kills the final serpent, finishing the remaining low-level danger decisively. He directs the girls to advance, while carefully monitoring mana usage for the next wave. The females nod, already healing from extensive skill usage from the prior fight encounters. Outside the site, Spectators analyze Lin Ye's weapon, speculating if it is a sword. They also discuss Mumu's clone, questioning whether it reflects her awakening talent formally recognized. Someone says that the Alliance already knows about her talent and appreciates her outstanding qualities. The crowd remarks that Lin Ye's teammates display great skills, making them exceptional alongside him. Mumu's parents sigh in satisfaction, glad that their daughter is now extremely capable officially. They acknowledge that others are beginning to appreciate her expertise, talent, and numerous good deeds. The red-headed villain hiding beneath the watchers grits his teeth, cursing Lin Ye's success loudly. He declares that Lin Ye and his friends would be better off joining abyssal forces. With that, he leaves from the place, departing fast and leaving no trace behind immediately. Hidden soldiers emerge afterward, reporting that Target 3 has departed the venue successfully already. They query whether Target 1 has opened the abyss gate, so they can seal the net. Outside the city, the blue-haired girl orders the assassin to keep the victim trapped. She instructs him to close the net as Abyss Demon Suppression Team 2 coordinates. The crew begins their operation easily, racing fast toward their target without any hesitation. Both the assassin and the team leader race in pursuit of the fleeing target. Meanwhile, the red-haired man lets his soul to drain, trading his life cards intentionally. Being the real evil fallen, his cards begin working as the abyss energy enters him. The Veil Fallen chuckles at the professional's incompetence, condemning them for failing his metamorphosis. From this moment onward, he formally begins the change into a terrible abyss fighter. The red-haired man bows to the pitch black, letting darkness take over his entire body. Today he plays his cards and prepares to be reincarnated as an angry warrior. Suddenly, a voice yells his name, revealing that the pros have surrounded him rapidly. The blue-haired girl, leader among many, insists he dispels the fog covering his body. She gives him only 10 seconds to remove the abyss's power from his being. Soldiers close in from behind, holding him and preparing to halt more changes quickly. The red-haired man struggles frantically, striving to shake off the troops threatening his life. He begins saying that a traitor has betrayed him seriously, fueling his angry opposition. The leader starts counting from 10, suggesting that the time to surrender is ending. Once the countdown reaches 8, he materializes a diamond-level mage weapon, attacking fiercely. Universal devil cards fly in all directions, attacking warriors and challenging their cooperation and protection. The blue-haired female absorbs the abyssal power through her equipment set bonus automatically. Despite their efforts, the red-haired man refuses to yield, drawing another card aggressively. A soldier attacks from behind with an arrow of silence, halting the card's effect. The troops unleash flame strikes and change him into a sheep, inhibiting his hazardous skills. The evil fallen burns in anguish as the warriors keep steady, unyielding pressure. He promises to annihilate the entire professional league, keeping his wrath and hatred alive. Finally, the abyssal energy discharges its full power, threatening devastating annihilation in reaction. The leader cautions soldiers to be alert as the enemy channels all 10 black energies. The red-haired man regains health with a final attack, challenging the pros to engage. A swift shadow attack strikes him in the heart, delivered expertly by the skilled assassin. The assassin moves with deadly quickness, ending the combat utilizing a rapid triple sword attack. Elsewhere, spectators watch the unfolding conflict in the underground dungeon with growing wonder and awe. They witness Lin Ye, ready to advance toward the level 20 venomous frog tactically. One remarks that fighting the frog is useless, as conquering it does not influence completion. Another implies Lin Ye aims to utilize the frog's pawn to kite and maneuver tactically. Meanwhile, the level 20 venomous frog approaches, its actions purposeful and menacing as it advances. Lin Ye and his friends battle the frog, activating reverse healing and plunder spells efficiently. The frog launches its attack, utilizing the fatal tongue stab, targeted straight at Lin Ye. Outside witnesses yell for him to dodge, stunned as Lin Ye absorbs the attack quietly. The tongue wraps fully around him, yet he activates reversal, miraculous healing, and catastrophe simultaneously. The frog's tongue is sliced apart instantaneously, unable to withstand Lin Ye's tremendous magic combination. Lin Ye walks closer to the adversary, and his shoulder ailment appears absolutely non-existent afterward. Observers see Lin Ye combines treatment and calamity concurrently, strengthening his attack's potency dramatically. The boss rushes fiercely toward Lin Ye as he dodges well while retiring strategically backward. Spectators dispute whether Lin Ye intends to kite the frog, or why the girls wait. Soon the frog comes attack range, and Mumu unsheathes her weapon, ready for a hit. Baiji boosts Mumu's attack, and together their Gale Sword and Fireball execute a combo skill. The combination attack makes the boss monster's HP reduced by a heavy amount, yet it is not particularly noteworthy. Baiji remarks that this is typical in a disaster-level dungeon, where even killing low-level boss monsters has become extraordinarily difficult. Mumu wipes her sweat, agreeing that it is normal, and points out that their combination attack, although using so many talents at once, consumes very little mana and requires no recovery time. Mumu comes to her position, seeing that everything unfolds just as Lin Ye advises, and wonders how many seconds have passed since their attack on the boss. Baiji begins counting from 30, whilst Lin Ye performs his plundering technique on the venomous frog while it is in a low HP state. Almost quickly the system declares that the venomous frog is defeated, and that they have acquired the secret realm bonus. Baiji cheers, observing that it takes them less than 40 seconds to fight the boss monster, which means their record is maintained. Across the city, the Wicked Fallen's health depletes completely until the system proclaims him dead. The leader informs the top head that target number 3 is eliminated, and instructs the assassin Wulu to immediately lead his crew to the Abyss Gate, rendezvous with additional units, and proceed toward the Abyss with the complete army. She underlines that such an opportunity is uncommon and must be utilized to its utmost potential. Wulu removes his hood and approaches his warriors, emphasizing that the following battle will be far more dangerous than the adversary they just fought. It is analogous to a big-scale demon tide, and it is feasible that none of them will survive. He allows anyone who wants to back out the chance to do so, making it plain that he will neither halt nor blame anyone. He underlines that their goal is to preserve families and safeguard the population from the demon disease beasts hiding in the abyss. After a moment of quiet, the troops unanimously pledge to the battle, vowing to defeat the demons and restore peace with no regrets. Wulu leads them ahead, rushing into the abyss, determined to bring back the Abyss King's head, while the soldiers sing their resolve, vowing that humanity will triumph. Within the secret realm, the 3 warriors have already defeated the giant python elite, the demonized spider elite, and the giant wild boar elite. Checking their stats, they notice that Mumu has scored higher than Lin Ye, prompting her to wonder whether she has grown stronger or the monsters have become weaker. Lin Ye proposes that since there is still time and the first stage boss has yet to come, Mumu should summon the enormous tree guardian. Using the summoning bell, Mumu calls forth the guardian tree, which descends with a platinum level bonus. Observing the sight, the professor shows disbelief, knowing that this is not the first stage monster, and realizes that Lin Ye's potential is boundless, especially given that the creature is called by Mumu's avatar. The system then sends an alarm that the shadow of Yanan has detected their presence. Lin Ye alerts the others that it is approaching, and soon a humanoid monster of level 20, modified by level 10, emerges before them, with a description noting that it assaults and brutally kills anyone who gets near. Lin Ye directs the guardian tree to attack, ordering it to employ the Knight's Charge, follow with Heaven's Strike, and anticipate the ending. The guardian tree conducts the assault, striking the knight and throwing the shadow of Yanan into a down position. Lin Ye then tells the girls to cease conserving their mana and use all their skills to fast diminish its health. Mumu performs her Ice Seal technique, freezing the knight as its health lowers swiftly. Baiji arranges herself and strikes with a firestorm. The trio mixes their techniques and contemplates transitioning to close combat capabilities, as their large-ranging attacks have already been used. Before they act, the system informs them that the shadow of Yanan is defeated. Suddenly, the knight rises in rage and launches a frontal attack toward Lin Ye. The man adds the intelligence assessment reveals the abyss constructed traps on 2 fronts. Yan said they intend to strike 2 prey with 1 arrow simultaneously. Another professor agrees, saying their major objective is eradicating Lin Ye first. He adds they forecasted Lin Ye's moves and attempted luring the tiger away. Yan mocks them again, stating the abyss felt itself exceedingly clever. He considers them crafty fools who mistake recklessness for valor. Even after huge losses, they still charged blindly. Displaying their desperation, Lin Ye removes his disguise mask and shows all stated good news was fake. He explains the abyss circulated false information to lower their guard purposely. The professor decides Lin Ye must be informed of the real situation immediately. He directs Lin Ye to enter the secret world. Once recruits totally relax, the gates will be opened prematurely according to their plan. They observe Lin Ye intently, as Uncle Huang is visibly worried. He informs the professor his son may be in great danger. The lecturer reassures him, stating this also acts as an important test. He reveals the Abyss Lord wants to recruit Xiaofeng, not destroy him. As long as Xiaofeng behaves, the Abyss will not hurt him. Once the gate opens, their mole will quietly guide him through Jiang City. The assistant reports their main forces already entered the Abyss Gate successfully. She says that within 5 minutes, a monster tidal will invade Jiang City. Yan announces everyone should retreat into the inner city and wait. He boldly believes they are one step ahead this time. Yan concludes they will win this battle with 0 deaths. Inside the secret realm, the tree guardian approaches Linye for permission. He advises Linye to leave all matters to him firmly. Linye executes Heaven Strike, Hu Flying Kick, and Death Triple Slash successively. He cuts the monster's face immediately with overwhelming force. Viewers presume the triple slash has wiped out every boss present. Another witness notes he dispatched a platinum-level boss within 5 hits. Someone claims his skill utilization signals a powerful awakening status. One person offers objections regarding the priest-student's combat talent. He argues Linye lacks tank toughness and appropriate mana sustainability. He feels Linye is too vulnerable if commanded during battlefield fighting. He recommends priests should avoid such frontline responsibilities altogether. Another observer counters that Linye may be purposely holding back. After all, Linye is still a newly recruited student. Someone remarks his dodges and timing are faultless and exact. They recall he achieved full marks in every practical examination. He asks the teacher whether he agrees with this assessment. The teacher says a true all-round genius could easily replace him. Another observer stresses Mumu's uniqueness through her excellent clone techniques. When employed correctly, her combinations excel against penetrating otherworldly entities. Someone whispers urgently into the leader's ear. The leader hastily declares the viewing is suspended, owing to potential threat. Chaos ensues as people scatter and shout in panic. He advises everyone to stay calm, guaranteeing safety through calmness. The pink-haired girl speculates another demon tide is approaching. He reassures them, explaining the alliance's strength is overwhelming. He instructed everyone to retreat, refusing to endanger the students further. Meanwhile, inside the realm, a girl delivers Linye a golden barrier scroll. She explains the alliance planned it as a new abyss map. Mumu insists on following Linye forward. Linye stops her, instructing her to stay with Baiji. He claims he will enter the gate alone with the tree protector. Linye cautions the road ahead is highly perilous. Linye claims the hazard in this zone is unknown and untested during exams. He tells the girls their performance is fantastic and staying behind is safer. He pauses, realizing he already triggered the tree protector earlier. While whispering, the girls consider bribing him into taking them along. Mumu offers all supplies and potions, saying they will aid in the abyss. When all three make miserable baby looks, Linye cannot refuse them. In the end, they all continue forward together, without further debate. After feeding the potion to the guardian tree, its speed rises substantially. Its movements get swifter as power flows through its wooden structure. They charge forward together, fast energy surging inside them all. A black armored puppet appears, level 10, skillless, yet exceedingly dangerous. The tree guardian smashes through instantly with Night Charge instant kill skill. Linye follows with a triple slash regular strike, finishing the puppet cleanly. Another black armored puppet spawns, now reaching level 20 swiftly. The tree guardian asks if it should eliminate it immediately. Linye boldly states he can defeat it within 1 minute. Suddenly, Linye detects danger and urges everyone to keep still. He shouts that unseen troops are hiding amid the surrounding darkness. He tells them to wait, vowing to force the enemies out. Linye activates Chi technique, invasive divine Chi therapy. A wave of clarity settles across the battlefield quickly. A black-armored male-female couple spawns, making Linye frown softly. He mutters that adversaries are emerging continuously in this zone. While killing them, he orders Mumu to keep back. He explains the ninja will detect her movements instantly. He tells the tree guardian to continue occupied with the puppets. Linye commands clearing the initial minions and drawing them toward the ninja. The tree guardian roars aggressively, alerting tree ants not to approach. Linye engages moon concealment without hesitation. He cries heaven, hell, and earth, heralding the following phase. He informs Mumu it is finally her chance to attack. The tree guardian roars with surging energy as they strike together. Mumu fires windstorm butterflies toward the male-female ninja duo. The black armored puppet ninja is soon defeated. Another dark puppet begins summoning additional reinforcements instantly. Linye uses inversion healing thunder spells, crushing the surviving ninjas. Meanwhile, underground camp monitors shout in horror at Linye's AoE damage. One exclaims that his damage exceeds even the two bosses together. Another verifies he eliminated most foes within mere minutes. An observer believes even excellent schools cannot accomplish such production. An instructor wipes sweat, fearing Linye possesses SS or God-tier talent. The principal rubs his shoulder, asking if he feels bad. The teacher coughs and apologizes for his earlier impoliteness. He admits Linye is remarkable and boasts great skill. The audience erupts, stating everyone should fight for Linye's entry. The pink-haired girl follows Linye's direction, and directs her troops onward. Linye and the Tree Guardian pause, detecting stronger impending monsters. Suddenly, a witch enters on a broomstick, beaming at Linye. A pop-up comes heralding the coming of the Annihilation Witch. Another alert comes, claiming enemy power in the secret realm has increased. The abrupt arrival of the Annihilation Witch catches the gigantic Tree Guardian off guard as well, and Linye learns that the Tree Guardian also remembers her. He then glances over to the witch and wonders about how there's both a clone and an unknown boss, which seems to be some summoned monster, yet the data refers to it as a clone. The protagonist recalls the moment when he once had a difficult battle against such an entity, and stares into the Annihilation Witch's eyes fiercely. The Annihilation Witch speaks out, calling it intriguing to see everyone, soul-summoning Bell, huge tree protector, and Tear of the Life Attendant, assembled there. At her statements, the Tree Guardian and Mumu's deity glare at the witch, so our kid instantly urges them to calm down, and inquires whether they know her already. Sumumu's deity shakes her head in disbelief. However, the Tree Guardian comments that she seems familiar to him, since she has the exact mark that Linye has. But the hero elaborates that it should allude to the Forgotten Nest Pass. In a careless attitude, the witch urges him not to be too bitter, because she is going to let them pass this stage for free, owing to their fate. She then hopes for them to cross the Forgotten Nest as well, and suddenly disappears into thin air, leaving them perplexed and shocked. He stares at the vacant area, wondering how she could just run away and disappear, just because he possesses the Forgotten Nest Pass. When he questions if she is also a creature from the nest, the huge Tree Guardian says that even though he doesn't remember who she is, she had multiple identical origin marks, like the Forgotten Nest one. After giving it a moment, he adds that the Annihilation Witch can't be a secret realm entity. Rather, he suspects that she got attracted to this secret place when he got summoned by his lord with the soul-summoning bell. In this way, his master might have allowed him absorb part of the power of the catastrophe bringer, because she also has the same power and aura as that item. Therefore, she can even be the source, and might have personally endowed this secret world with fresh power, altering the instance. Despite wishing to explore deeper into this topic, Linye decides not to count on the gigantic Tree Guardian as his crucial recollections are vague. Thus, our boy asks him to not worry about the Annihilation Witch anymore. He then points out the departure of the puppet's general, summoned by the witch as well, and queries who the final enemy is, because the instance hasn't showed a clearing prompt as well. Right then, Mumu and Baiju got there and explain how they detect changes in the instance, so they decided to regroup with them in case something important is happening. As soon as they express their relief over finding each other undamaged, the prompt displaying that the black-armored puppet mage's interest has been recognized in the mage profession. Once the black-armored puppet wizard reignites the combat intent, Sumumu panics about if she has misunderstood the circumstances once again, commanding her to not waste her time overthinking about it, as they wouldn't have gotten the clearance prompt anyways, even if she hadn't arrived. He expects the puppet mages to be the final bosses. Therefore, he proceeds to battle against them by nullifying their attacks with his own. The gigantic Tree Guardian and Sumumu's deity both join in to protect themselves against the puppet mages, but Linye urges Sumumu to freeze their energy orb debris in order to stop the secondary explosions. As ordered, she is fast to unleash her ice sealing technique on the enemy army. Though it surprises the black-armored puppet magicians at first, they swiftly summon a bigger number of their army for help. When the Tree Guardian enlightens the protagonist about the circumstance of the hidden summoning of 1,000 armies, Baiju seeks Linye's guidance. With no doubt or panic on his face, our son assures her not to worry, since he will also call a powerful helper now. With that said, he summons the Dark Curse Knight right away, and with a massive emission of light from his blade, a big armored knight emerges behind him. Being an hour-long level 20 combat knight, the Dark Curse Knight steps towards the black-armored puppet wizards without wasting any time. Seeing his level increased from 15 to 20, Sumumu questions Linye about it out of curiosity, to which he claims to not have observed this. Secretly, he doubts himself if there's a potential that the Dark Curse Knight's strength might increase with that of the protagonist. On the other hand, the people viewing the Dark Curse Knight materialize can't believe their eyes and express their enthusiasm and amazement by talking favorably about Linye. They name our guy the deity who modified the difficulty of the historical dungeon and was qualified to summon Curse Knights. A group of men move away from the crowd of students and decide to act first, since they are locked here and have lost communication with all the superiors. One of them expresses his excitement over finally gaining some freedom to do anything they want, because their abyssal demon commanders are already in danger. Thus, he summons the teleportation gate. Inside the dungeon, Linye directs the Dark Curse Knight not to use the moonlight piercing, because the enemy forces are utilizing a human wave tactic, and rather commands him to attract them all to the current area. Right then, the knight's each characteristic improves tremendously as he soars ahead towards the black-armored puppet wizards. When the puppet magicians detect the oncoming danger, they begin to attack him, but he guards himself quite well. Not just that, he counterattacks the puppet mages, making the hero happy of the knight's performance, who succeeds in luring in the opposing forces. He then warns the ladies that those 4 bosses won't be able to make a reckless move until the puppet mages are dead, because their tactic is to fatigue Linnea and his crew with minor enemies. He then states that he has spotted the mana reserves being provided for the magic circle by them, instead of assaulting them, and mocks the general line puppet mages for being foolish as well. The dark cursed knight heroically fights against the black-armored puppet mages, and once he generates a giant ball of mana, he launches it toward the opposing forces under the protagonist's order. This heavenly blow causes significant harm to the puppet mages, and with the poison bubble, flame storm, and frostbite methods, the girls also assault the enemy forces altogether. At last, the dark cursed knight swings his blade, and with moonlight puncture, the entire black-armored puppet mage troupe is annihilated. The magic circle gets destroyed, and their superiors suffer enormous repercussions. Linnea utilizes the reverse clarity confinement technique on the monsters, directing his crew to not allow them recover and resummon any more minor enemies. He urges them to keep breaking the bosses individually. He then pulls off the reverse healing plunder technique with great confidence, which results in the black-armored puppet mage general getting slain. Linnea then turns around and sees how Sumamu and the huge tree guardian have also murdered the respective black-armored puppet mage generals they're fending against. When the tree guardian's opponent doesn't die instantaneously, he employs the absolute shadow single slash technique and slays her in half. Finally, the secret realm dungeon clears, and their rewards start to get computed. Under the influence of the special ability, Glaze of the Goddess of Fortune, all clear treasure chests upgrade to Diamond Tier, and 2 enormous treasure chests emerge before them. The 2 Diamond Tier treasure chests appear before the crew, and Linnea orders them to be opened. On the command, the treasure chests bring out 4 magnificent rewards: a Diamond Tier priest skill, Blessing of the Stars, a Diamond Tier mage weapon, Book of Divine Thunder, a Diamond Tier equipable item, Eye of the Sun, and a rare tier item. Our boy stares at the priest skill with sparkling eyes and finds it entertaining. He then deems Falling Stars a fantastic weapon. The students outside the dungeon watch with intense interest at what has been dropped as the rewards. They are busy pushing through each other in order to gaze at the television. Meanwhile, Wang Machao walks to Zhongcheng's city lord and whispers something in his ear. After listening to him, the city lord inquires about the war situations in the abyssal realm, to which Machao claims that they're about to win. He further continues, claiming that they've reached the abyssal palace, and deduces today as the finest day to assassinate the abyssal lord. Thus he proclaims the arriving demise of all the abyssal demons. Zhongcheng's city lord respects Machao and his team's efforts, and urges him to be extra careful all the time, as it seems to have happened too quickly, for the abyssal demons stop at nothing to do evil. Machao tries to mention something about what would happen if they succeed in sweeping away the entire abyssal army, but Lin Ye and his team depart the secret realm dungeon right then, and the students begin to cheer the protagonist's name out of joy. Upon setting foot into the shelter, our kid finds Wang Machao there, and he feels that things must be going nicely as per the Alliance's plan. Wondering at what point the Alliance's troops would be at, he feels worried about the situation as if they are forgetting some factor, and muses about how amazing it would be if they succeeded in destroying the abyssal forces in one fell swoop. Suddenly, the pupils are heard screaming in a horrific manner, and upon turning around, everyone observes the tide creatures which have barged into the refuge and are attacking the students. The officials are stunned as they query the appearance of those animals to themselves, but the dying pupils scream for rescue. Wang Machao is fast to react as he flashes towards the tide creatures and asks the student to not panic, guaranteeing that he'll save the student in the creature's hand. He immediately begs quick backup from his forces, alerting them of the sudden presence of the tide creatures, adding that he fears some insider has transferred them here. At the same time, Lin Ye also dashes for the tide creatures and uses his plunder technique. He thinks that something is definitely wrong, as the city soldiers that are guarding outside are incredibly tough. Wang Machao has also returned to report to the city lord, not to mention the arrangements made by the Alliance's higher-ups. Therefore, he reasons to himself that the creatures must have been momentarily summoned internally by an insider. Jiang Cheng's city lord urges the skilled combatants present there to rapidly take out their weapons and guard the students. With that said, the professional warriors do as commanded, and they all begin to fight the tide creatures in order to protect the kids. Some would run to protect the pupils, while some would warn the officials of the attacks directed toward them. Wang Machao notifies the city lord about the tide creatures' fires, whereas the city lord summons his wyvern and assures the students that the wyvern flames can only damage abyssal things. Therefore, they must not panic. Fed up with the situation, Wang Machao aggressively queries whether this is some kind of summoning device and inquires about the insider's hideout. Right then, Sumumu comes forth and volunteers herself and the females to clear away the area. He advises everyone to be vigilant about the tide creatures emerging from any place. Meanwhile, Lin Ye attempts to think of a way out of this scenario and contemplates arranging everyone to leave the shelter first. But then he finds himself divided by the concept of catching the insider first. The refuge must still be lurking within, since it is in the inner city, unlike the main venue. Security outside is high, so escape is difficult. At the same time, he is conscious of the fact that the tide will go on if they don't catch the insider first. Suddenly, two men enter the shelter and say that the tide creatures have appeared in the earth in the inner city, along with the refuge, and the abyssal creature levels are believed to be around 30 to 40. This leads to all encirclement teams becoming deployed, and all professional combatants are called out for emergency fighting. Lin Ye, the city ruler, and Wang Machao, all three of them are engaged resisting the tide creatures. The city lord inquires of Machao about why the support from the inner city hasn't arrived yet, and where the professional combatants around the refuge are. Right then, a professional combatant enters the shelter injured, and warns them that the inner refuge has been surrounded by many demon tide teleportation gates. Not only that, but the tide creatures on the streets have also turned out to be especially outrageous, which indicates that the monsters from these gates are not low level, and the security crew is understaffed, so they can't provide support inside the shelter. Considering the circumstance, the protagonist recognizes that if such a situation endures, the outer tidal and the inner city tide will sandwich them and corner them until they're entirely obliterated. On the other hand, Sumumu and Baiji see that Mumu's attacks are extremely effective towards the creatures, making them assume that these monsters are low magic resistant sorts. Mumu then turns to our kid, questioning him about his mana consumption, to which he assures her that he's alright, and begs her to take care of her mana usage by having Xiao Mumu handle more of those tide creatures. Continuing to struggle against the abyssal creatures, the hero can't help but worry about how they will require a huge amount of recovery items if the tide creatures continue to come relentlessly. It is so because his team, the officials, and a number of professional combatants and spectators from the prominent colleges are here for the fun of it. He then turns to the city lord and talks how these creatures are roughly around level 10 to 20, which suggests the higher level gates have spawned elsewhere. Furthermore, the creatures they are fighting have low magic resistance and excellent physical defense with a disparity of at least 100%. When he advises that all the student magicians should help from a distance, the city lord commands them to do so. Thus, they fearlessly agree to contribute. Lin Ye then utilizes his newly awarded skill, Blessing of the Stars and Punishment of the Falling Stars, resulting in the reduction of tide creatures' health. This move enhances the motivation among the student mages, and they help out each other in restoring mana and health. However, the protagonist frets about the mana recovery skills and supplies not being enough to sustain them till the arrival of reinforcements. He thinks about them all dying after reaching the human limit. Therefore, he inquires with the city lord about the number of supplies within the shelter's reserves. He says that the shelter was temporarily activated recently, following the concept of not wasting or letting things expire. Supplies need to be organized with the guard team for delivery. This statement lets him discover the grimness of the situation, since most of the primary elite professional combatants left to engage in the encirclement of the abyssal troops, resulting in a deficit of manpower in both the outer and inner city. Suddenly, something clicks in his mind, causing him shout out that they had been misled. When he further yells that it's a diversionary ploy to attract the tiger out of the mountains, he feels someone's hand approach him from behind, telling him to calm down. Out of fury, our youngster slaps the hand off himself, warning the person not to bother him at this vital moment. However, to his amazement, it is Shangguan Yan, whose appearance there absolutely throws him off guard. Upon being queried, Shangguan Yan admits that the whole plan doesn't entail him enticing the White Clown, rather it was a stand-in found by the Alliance. He then admits to have been watching over Lin Ye's tremendous performance. Thus, he proposes to work together with him by breaking through and fighting their way through the tide monsters to uncover the source. After considering it, our boy wonders about the time it will take and the probable delays that could lead to casualties. In order to clear out our boy's confusions, Shangguan Yan demonstrates him his skill by linking their spirits. Now all the damage that be done to Lin Ye will get divided between both, and all of the hero's skill damage gets enhanced by 100%. When the hero gives Shangguan Yan creeped out looks, he reveals that it's his awakened talent, Soul Link, via which he can transfer his soul to another person. This lasts for an hour, and comes with more functionality than just this. With distrust, our boy wonders about the cost and its negative effects on his body, thinking it must be a legendary tier awakened skill. However, Shangguan Yan ensures that the only person who'll get impacted is himself, which would lead him to a 1-week coma, and the cost of it is to carry Shangguan Yan with him once he has passed out. Once Lin Ye has understood the plan and the features of the talent, he grabs Shangguan Yan by the arm and brings him to get started. They come across a cockroach man monster, so Shangguan instructs him to not let its snot spatter out on them. On that instruction, Lin Ye swings his blade and chops the cockroach man in half using his powers. Shangguan Yan takes Lin Ye deeper, taking him directly toward the secret insider. Lin Ye quickly thinks the Lin Yun sect master already knows the insider's identity. When questioned, the sect head quietly concedes the truth without hesitation. He explains concealed surveillance has always existed throughout this area. The insiders hid the summoning scroll inside the surveillance room purposefully. This technique is both silly and cunning, since monitors view the monitoring room itself. Outside Jiang City, many abyssal monsters roam freely through devastated streets. Huang Xiaofeng struggles greatly while battling off the continuous flood of monsters. He curses loudly, recalling how these vile animals dared capture and humiliate him. He resents how they squandered his time and dragged him into such embarrassment. After crushing another monster, he turns and snaps at Black Fist's follower. He commands the shadow to quit stalking him immediately. Black Fist reacts quietly, explaining he can no longer accompany Xiaofeng. He argues Xiaofeng must continue alone, as he has vital matters elsewhere. Black Fist points at the unusual mark developing on Xiaofeng's forearm. He explains tide monsters will no longer attack him because of it. However, professional combatants will mistake him for a corrupted one. Black Fist advises surrendering immediately, or hiding until the demonic tide ends. Afterward, Xiaofeng should explain the abyssal mark carefully to authorities. Finding the council ludicrous, Xiaofeng taunts Black Fist and demands a better approach. Black Fist declines, claiming he has more vital tasks to manage. At that moment, Fox and Smoke Demon arrive, relieved to finally track Black Fist. They face him angrily, accusing him of betraying the abyss. Black Fist says he was always an undercover spy dubbed Smoker. He urges them to turn back now while there is still time. Smoke Demon explodes in wrath and swings his arm to murder Black Fist. Black Fist argues his goals were noble, but relying on the abyss is misguided. Smoke Demon replies by pounding a heavy punch into Black Fist's face. Meanwhile, Fox approaches Huang Xiaofeng and welcomes him mockingly. Already annoyed, Xiaofeng insults her by calling her a rat. Enraged, Fox throws him into a neighboring wall with incredible power. She mocks his helplessness when he fails to break away. Xiaofeng seizes a moment and smashes his elbow toward her head. Fox swiftly catches his arm and smashes it against the wall. Xiaofeng's face and arm are immobilized as Fox clutches his neck forcefully. She insults him fiercely, calling him a useless, perverted being. Xiaofeng retaliates angrily, fiercely assaulting her appearance and pride. His remarks badly injured Fox's ego, tearing away her inhibition totally. She summons ropes of power, binding his body and neck viciously. Xiaofeng believes she genuinely means to kill him this time. Smoke Demon communicates a psychic message, reminding her of their objective. Fox reveals Xiaofeng's corrupting talent surpasses even Lord Mei Gao's. She states he is a 1 in 10,000 king-level corrupting skill. Their objective is to catch him alive and brainwash him into a weapon. She mocks Smoke Demon while inviting him over to help confine Xiaofeng. After Smoke Demon accepts, Fox throws Xiaofeng aside, dismissively. Suddenly, Black Fist emerges and smashes Fox across the street. Her attributes drop as she suffers significant internal traumas. Smoke Demon panics, unable to fathom how Black Fist overwhelms them both. Furious, Fox and Smoke Demon charge him together with full might. Black Fist remained comfortable, deeming their transformations absolutely meaningless. He mocks Fox, suggesting she is actually buffing him instead. As they close in, enormous energy erupts forcefully from Black Fist's body. The shockwave blasts them aside as disbelief floods their expressions. Black Fist's awakening skill ignites, as Abyssal Sound Crossing activates with several tremendous bonuses. Many of these perks especially target abyssal creatures bearing demonic qualities. The corrupted dragon lets forth a piercing cry as flames blister her scaled body. Black Fist restrains himself, telling her he wanted to provide one final chance. For the sake of their old friendship, he hoped she would turn back. However, her intransigence and misguided views leave him no alternative anymore. With resolve, Black Fist strikes directly toward Fox's heart. Mid-punch, Fox forcefully transforms back into her human form. She collapses heavily onto the ground, as Black Fist softly bids her farewell. He tells her to choose humanity in her next existence. He raises her again and unleashes Meteor Uppercut with incredible force. Her dragon shape splits apart as the assault lands decisively. Black Fist follows with Grand Slam, crushing her broken body into the ground. She remains still, blood sprayed everywhere as the system examines her status. The system certifies her death and congratulates Black Fist for destroying the Tainted One. Black Fist glances calmly at his fallen friend, emotions repressed tightly. A sudden loud boom disrupts the scene as he notices Smoker leaving. He apologizes to Fox internally, knowing survival always leaves hope behind. Without hesitation, he runs ahead, chasing after Smoker mercilessly. He warns Smoker that there is no escape left for him. Smoker changes into his beast form, accusing Black Fist of undue violence. He pushes forward with a desperate blow aimed directly at Black Fist. Black Fist stays unmoved, replying with Vajrapalm as a patriarch technique. He instantly follows with force displacement and light Arhat Fist. The combined force sends Smoker flying violently across the battlefield. Black Fist concludes with Uppercut as the system announces Smoker's death. Black Fist turns toward Xiaofeng, who lies comatose, oblivious of the conflict. He concludes that Xiaofeng's mental health is extremely unstable. He lifts Xiaofeng, planning to take him somewhere safe momentarily. Suddenly, his commander orders him to stop immediately. The boss questions Black Fist about his current location. Black Fist reports being outside Jiang City's North Gate. He says that he plans to escort Xiaofeng back into the city. He tells Xiaofeng was incapacitated by pursuing corrupted enemy earlier. Without hesitation, he informs that Fox and Smoker have been removed. The boss informs Black Fist that the strategy has now shifted altogether. He instructs him to deliver Xiaofeng directly to him instead. Black Fist replies in astonishment, questioning whether Xiaofeng is joining them. He says Xiaofeng lacks training and would perish as an undercover spy. The boss shares alarming intelligence regarding Xiaofeng's corrupting talent. According to sources, his capability significantly beyond the abyssal demon Miego's judgment. His talent may surpass a corrupted lord, reaching king-level corruption. This news severely upsets Black Fist as the boss keeps speaking. The boss thinks Xiaofeng may earn tremendous control within the Yet. Xiaofeng's special will allows him to refuse complete corruption. This paradox offers him the potential to slay entities beyond abyssal kings. He may even approach the Emperor of the Abyss itself. Such a warped individual has never existed in their history before. The boss says that he approved this choice with Xiaofeng's father. The Alliance and other authorities unanimously endorse the scheme. He tells Black Fist that Xiaofeng can receive abyssal power securely. The corruption can be controlled without devouring his humanity totally. Black Fist wonders what happens if Xiaofeng rejects and remains human. He states Xiaofeng continually mutters Lin Ye's name compulsively. Bestowing abyssal might would eliminate any prospect of a fair encounter. The boss calmly states he already has a solution prepared. He tells Black Fist not to judge Xiaofeng by his disagreeable temperament. Xiaofeng's obstinate views and actual potential defy standard evaluations. Neither professionals nor abyssal demons can adequately analyze him. The supervisor explains Xiaofeng's shortcomings derive from childhood trauma. This reality is a well-kept secret known only to his father. He feels Lin Ye likewise made decisions after studying Xiaofeng's nature. Although Lin Ye can easily destroy abyssal demons, Xiaofeng is extreme. He will likely convert Lin Ye into an obsession and internal devil. Xiaofeng intends to demolish Lin Ye and establish his bloodline dominance. These two geniuses are completely incompatible as colleagues. However, they can still interact individually to maximize overall efficacy. The boss informs Black Fist he will discuss the remaining plan later. Black Fist acknowledges the commands and vows to bring Xiaofeng back. He mentions hearing something serious occurred recently in Jiang City. The boss sighs, indicating that an incident actually happened. Fortunately, Lin Ye intervened, and the situation entirely turned. Lin Ye changes from his demolition form back into his normal battle condition. He remarks that it is strange how these creatures lack intelligence, yet fear him. He points out that despite the large gateway, no monsters are emerging anymore. Lin Ye asks Yan whether this is related to the Abyssal Lord's death. He says the Alliance soldiers may have eliminated the governing Abyssal demons. Yan nods, acknowledging that such a scenario is perfectly possible. He says that tide monsters pursue Abyssal demons enhanced by Abyssal energy. They can also interact telepathically with beings inside the Abyssal realm. Past fearlessness arose from leaders driving them forward. They were compelled to charge, rather than freely throwing their lives away. With their commanders dead, instinctual dread now prohibits further provocation. Yan stands and begins binding the vanquished corrupted comrades firmly. He acknowledges he still does not comprehend how they attained such weird situations. Normally, corrupted ones do not remain aware once Abyssal surveillance disconnects. After tying them, Yan says understanding the cause is unimportant currently. What matters is stopping their escape and ensuring harsh judgment awaits them. Lin Ye offers Yan the scroll and asks what should be done next. He reveals that the scroll appears summonable and resists destruction by his skills. Yan nods, admitting that dealing with the scroll is fairly troublesome. Lin Ye adds that the scroll has not moved even little thus far. Suddenly, animals begin pouring out from the doorway once more. Both men promptly ready themselves for another round of combat. Yan tells Lin Ye they must replicate what they did earlier. Lin Ye activates Reverse Red Sea and Sea of Undead immediately. Yan advises him to keep the corrupted ones alive, as drowning will not work. Lin Ye nods, indicating that his assaults solely target tide animals. He re-enters destruction form and unleashes spells to kill adversaries. Yan watches, thinking Lin Ye's combat adaptability is extremely absurd. In moments, Lin Ye deals damage, applies debuffs, and commands crowds flawlessly. Lin Ye turns back and tells Yan the route ahead is clear. Yan simply stares silently, forcing Lin Ye to question if something is wrong. Yan tells him to proceed, offering no further reason. Lin Ye explains that the portal must be totally sealed next. However, the scroll must be destroyed due to its portal link. Unable to destroy it directly, Lin Ye unleashes his annihilation form. He throws the scroll forward and strikes it with moon concealment. Heavy hits jolt the area, making observers assume an earthquake had begun. The city lord tells everyone to remain calm, ensuring strengthened shelter stability. He then worries whether something serious is happening on Lin Ye's side. A sharp shriek shocks both guys, paralyzing them temporarily. Yan asks whether portals can replicate human sounds, as this is unfamiliar. A voice pleads with Lin Ye to stop stabbing the scroll. Lin Ye gently inserts the earplugs Mumu provided him earlier. This conduct puzzles Yan even further. Soon the scroll opens on its own, reacting furiously. Yan certifies that the item has activated independently. The scroll cries that it will close the gateway if released. Lin Ye stops assaulting as the scroll climbs into the air. It suddenly splits itself apart, scattering shards downward. Lin Ye asks whether everything is finally over now. Yan picks up the ripped papers and confirms the threat is past. No additional tide creatures will spawn, and the situation has reversed completely. Across the city, Alliance soldiers detect portals closing one after another. They cry encouragement, intending to destroy remaining beasts effortlessly. Soon, energy transforms as white jellyfish-like lights blanket the sky. They drift gracefully, each one blessed by an unknown force. The path of the sea moon ignites, transporting Lin Ye forward. As he runs, damaged roads beneath him begin mending instantly. People watch in astonishment as jellyfish shelter him while he advances. Health begins to restore as other Alliance members step up to congratulate the students. One Alliance member questions whether this is the newly graduating student they heard about. They joke that a divine being has descended from the sky into the earthly realm. Then, another member notes that Lin Ye is not even a priest by strict classification. They feel the shown talent must be a bonus effect from his soul link, because an ordinary bonus ability could never span such a wide region. One individual questions if they actually identify him among the crowd. They point directly at him, calling him Lin Ye, the rising priest. After that, someone asks whether it really is him at that moment. Lin Ye closes his eyes and activates divine light of the star benediction. The surrounding region becomes bathed in dazzling celestial light. Observers recognize spirit moon concealment activating alongside the summoned object. After absorbing the big gate, its power continues expanding swiftly. Despite being an active skill, purification automatically begins spreading outward. The Oath of the Sea releases, covering the entire city instantly. A system notice reports reduced damage taken across all allied units. Then, all healed targets begin getting full attribute boosts simultaneously. The city lord holds the boots of snow fiercely. He recognizes the spell as large-scale healing throughout the entire battlefield. He proclaims it a wonderful stroke, sweeping away injuries like snow. Mumu and Baiji watch upward, wondering what is falling from the sky. Suddenly, Mumu realizes that the falling figure is Lin Ye. Other students find their wounds eventually mending and going away. Someone remarks that their condition has improved practically instantaneously. Other girls celebrate, stating their backs and legs no longer pain. They warmly hail Lin Ye as a swiftly growing talent. Buffed combatants chuckle, claiming they can fight the mighty monster hundreds more times. Baiji smiles at Mumu, indicating they had finally won this war. At that point, members of the City Lord's clan emerge onto the field. Their commander takes everyone ahead, heralding the clan's entire return. Someone announces they have effectively reclaimed the lost ground. Meanwhile, Lin Ye triggers Spirit Moon Concealment in its destruction condition. The clan ruler eagerly proclaims he will now charge alongside brother Lin Ye. Other members beg him to wait, saying that Lin Ye's blade targets the abyss. The city ruler says that Lin Ye's weapon delivers death blows to adversaries. It spontaneously purifies, absorbs souls, and perpetually increases in quality. Lin Ye sees a prompt indicating over 100 spirits gain new forms. When the Jade Shield blocks 500 allied damage points, effects begin compounding. Combined with Guardian Land's Jade Seal Shield, protection radiates outward. A gigantic shield develops, encompassing the entire city completely. Seeing this, the city ruler comments enthusiastically about Lin Ye's success. He says the boy alone has revolutionized the status of professional combatants. Turning to pupils, he declares priests will henceforth be respected significantly more. Outside the city, a reporter informs the inner city that Zhang's sources returned. Sector A has been cleared, with sweeping teams searching buildings extensively. All hidden tide animals in stairwells and apartments are eradicated. The outer city has been regained and signal towers revived. A lecturer wonders about the inner city's current status. The reporter explains the First Legion now controls center wall defenses. They have begun clearing the inner city methodically. The Second Legion is confirming shelter losses and survivor counts. The professor notes that compromised individuals were never properly evaluated. They underestimated how deeply corruption entered the student groups. They also misjudged the intensity of the demonic tide's rise. He wonders how no one detected the issue sooner. The outside city experienced heavier damage due to several teleportation gates. Even the original examination venue was largely ruined. He reminds himself not to cease offering aid to surviving students. Fortunately, no regular bystanders were killed during the incident. He thinks about leaning on the city ruler and Lin Ye. They successfully prevented the inner arena from catastrophic collapse. He tries to recollect who received resources before, but cannot remember correctly. Uncle Huang subsequently claims that Zhang repaired all monitoring systems. They confirm the inner city sustained 0 casualties. As talks continue, everyone agrees the students performed exceptionally. Teacher Huang argues that without Lin Ye, 0 casualties were impossible. Meanwhile, the veiled woman arrives softly, sporting a slight knowing grin. Once the conflict between professionals and tide monsters finishes, all species are entirely eliminated. The causes of the demonic wave are likewise properly removed later. With the crisis ended, the city begins coordinated post-disaster cleanup operations immediately. Meanwhile, all teachers, students, parents, and professional combatants are escorted to private lounges. These lounges are allocated for full physical inspections and medical treatments. They were exposed to protracted high-pressure warfare, pushing their physical thresholds dangerously far. Many participants survived only owing to continuous healing offered by Lin Ye and other priests. After inspections end, the results are lucky, indicating no significant injuries or lingering aftereffects. Everyone also receives free high-level recovery services arranged by the Alliance. However, Shangguan Yan is the most seriously impacted among all volunteers. The Soul Link's backlash sweeps him into a coma shortly after the conflict. As a result, his people transport him immediately back to a spiritual rhyme cult. Once the insider is identified, Alliance supervisors take hold of him immediately. He will be utilized as a lead to investigate other crooked persons. These perverted ones were responsible for unleashing the demonic tide. Several supervisors directing city defense are also implicated during the probe. They are terminated and investigated for disregarding tasks and leaving shelters unattended. Their failure immediately leads in the deaths of tens of thousands. Despite everything being fixed, Lin Ye feels a huge unresolved issue remains. According to the principal's message, the Alliance already knew of the insider's plot. They had even organized counter-deployments in advance. Therefore, inner-city defenses and examination venues should have been heavily guarded. However, reality contradicts these purported preparations utterly. Lin Ye recalls interrogating Shangguan Yan about attacking the abyss earlier. Shangguan Yan revealed something ambiguous regarding a strategy document. Although Shangguan Yan was told to attack the abyss, he never arrived. Instead, he raced to the central control center after discovering irregularities. While stating this, Lin Ye analyzes his eyes intently. He wonders whether Shangguan Yan's talent creates lower IQ as a side effect. Suddenly, Shangguan Yan recalls their confidence in eradicating abyssal troops fast. Because of this confidence, all important city forces were transferred outward. Despite hearing this argument, Lin Ye remained unconvinced. He points out that everyone seems to have forgotten shared deployment memories. Even if mistakes occurred, no one would reasonably transfer the key forces. Doing so practically hands the insider an opportunity to open demonic portals. After dealing with the card problem, elite encirclement teams should have returned. They should have protected students and improved inner-city security. Instead, they were immediately instructed to attack the abyssal realm. Shockingly, everyone complied without protests or reminders. Shangguan Yan says they entirely forgot the original orders and deployment plan. This discovery severely unsettles him because it violates conventional logic. If someone actually changed their memories, their power would be terrible. Such an ability might annihilate both the city and abyssal armies effortlessly. When Shangguan Yan doubts the motive, Lin Ye presents an alternative perspective. He suggests the manipulator may not be as godlike as thought. Elsewhere, the city lord recalls their original defense deployment strategy perfectly. They wanted to assign various guard units for thorough covering. The design also accounted for abyssal corruption among regular individuals. Chairman Huang acknowledges these facts and gives further insights. Many corrupted individuals have various backgrounds, yet possess limited strength. Most have not even obtained abyssal powers yet. They lack ability, are passive, and blend readily among civilians. Additionally, they only retain one-way contact with abyssal demons. This makes identifying them and getting proof incredibly tough. The city ruler recalls devising countermeasures against these unstable, corrupted persons. Since no one followed the plan, Chairman Huang proposes a gloomy scenario. A high-level corrupted individual may have obliterated everyone's memory. However, he has to believe such an extreme possibility. If such an insider exists, why enable the situation to revert so easily? Why not notify the abyssal forces earlier, or retreat strategically? Instead, the insider watched their lord die without interference. This realization instantly triggered something in the city lord's thoughts. He wonders if internal struggle exists within the abyssal powers themselves. Perhaps their ultimate objective was the abyssal king all along. Multiple scary scenarios flood his thoughts swiftly. He directs Chairman Huang to contact combatant coalitions in other cities quickly. These secret energies may be even more dangerous than abyssal monsters. They certainly harbor deeper intrigues and undiscovered intentions. He also ordered a comprehensive re-examination of all persons engaged. They must recognize memory-altering procedures, products, and suspicious individuals. Elsewhere, the hooded man and lady ponder whether their deeds were exposed. The man thinks discovery is irrelevant as they acted quite openly. He says that they have already received Lin Ye's whole fighting data. He admits Lin Ye's talent and strength are actually amazing. Defeating the Dark Curse Knight without injury displays great capability. Earning the gatekeeper's recognition further strengthens his importance. Hearing this admiration, the woman queries whether he likes that human child. She tells him about probable abyssal assassination efforts targeting Lin Ye. The man dismisses her worries casually and confidently. He argues that their enticing the tiger out of the mountain plan poses no threat. Lin Ye was only an instrument intended to demonstrate his true strength. The man and the woman converse admirably about Lin Ye while viewing the current situation. Suddenly their winged eye flashes with red light, suggesting the protagonist's team has arrived. This signal allows the two of them to access and see the whole dungeon footage. They begin studying the tape together, focusing attentively on the hero's battle performance. After observing Lin Ye thoroughly, the woman agrees he possesses absolutely exceptional and unusual strength. The man teases her, reminding her how she encouraged evacuation before, despite appreciating Lin Ye. Before she can react, something unexpected appears on the tape, startling them both instantaneously. Their eyes widen in surprise as a question exits their mouths simultaneously. They struggle to comprehend what they are viewing on the taped dungeon scene. The source of their shock is the apparition of biotears and the enormous tree protector. They remark that these are not simple summons made with standard summoning items. Astonishment swiftly turns into confusion when the woman spots the destruction witch as well. She knows the witch as the originator of the luminous descenders saw earlier. Gradually, the team discovers they have been incorrect all along in their assumptions. They locate Sumumu, and finally comprehend she is managing both formidable summoned demons. The man clenches his fist in wrath, shattering the winged eye quickly. He declares that the prophecy guided by the third umbilical cord refers to Sumumu. It was not Lin Ye, but Mumu who defeated the Dark Curse Knight without injury. Having selected Sumumu as the long-sought chosen one, she suddenly starts sneezing. At that same moment, Lin Ye and his crew receive notifications on their cell phones. Their accounts have been credited with Alliance coins as an additional performance bonus. Although the credited amounts vary from millions to much lower sums, everyone receives something. Every member involved in the incident receives compensation without exception. The Alliance's decision to give long-term pensions to all participants is particularly praiseworthy. However, aside from the heroes team, another set of youngsters suffers major obstacles. These students must focus on healing while simultaneously preparing once again for the final exam. They need to extend their fighting lines, despite ongoing physical and mental weariness. After searching online, Lin Ye learns the final exam is set 1 month later. This assessment is significant since it examines both physical recovery and psychological stability. Suddenly a knock rings at the door, interrupting Lin Ye's thoughts. When he opens it, he discovers Chairman Huang Tiang standing outside the mansion. The chairman explains he arrived under the city lord's orders. He then gives Lin Ye an honorary medal for his contributions. Chairman Huang adds that Lin Ye can enhance his equipment talents once more. When Lin Ye and Bai Ji step outdoors, they discover numerous security personnel present. Despite this, the protagonist and the females focus on the tablet presented to him. The tablet displays a list of newly available equipment alternatives. Chairman Huang wants Lin Ye to remain calm, presuming the equipment holds no surprises. However, Lin Ye admits he truly wants to replace his boots and belt. He states that boosting his recuperation impact has become superfluous at this time. Additionally, the magic resistance only protects standard strikes from magic-based professions. Since priests already possess increased magic resistance growth, the belt feels inefficient. He feels the belt of invigoration has outmoded or overlapping qualities. Lin Ye says he originally chose the belt only to complete final exam criteria. Now, however, he intends to replace the quick boots to improve his potential strength. He underlines that there is no such thing as excessive speed in warfare. He reveals that both the Black Curse Knight and Giant Tree Guardian rely on speed. Their superiority derives from exceptionally rapid attack speed, overwhelming opponents continually. Without such speed, even dungeon bosses would struggle to maintain invincibility. Lin Ye continues emphasizing that their combat power would decline by 50% otherwise. After speaking extensively, Lin Ye finally pauses and announces his ultimate decision. He selects the Flame Boots along with a Healing Wave skill book. Sumumu quickly questions his choice, calling Healing Wave an ordinary platinum rank skill. To explain himself, Lin Ye taps the screen and reveals the skill's qualities. The talent heals 500 health, while causing 800 damage to an adversary. He reveals that after using his talent, the skill's damage increases substantially. It surpasses healing spells and Holy Light in single target damage output. The only prerequisite is the presence of at least 2 hostile targets. With everything arranged, Chairman Huang discusses needing to find Shangguan Yan next. He remarks that Shangguan Yan will undoubtedly extract resources for the spiritual rhyme sect. Before departing, Lin Ye wonders whether Huang Xiaofeng actually has no issues. Chairman Huang says that his son has his own talent and objective. Although Xiaofeng cannot compare to Lin Ye, the chairman accepts full responsibility. After Chairman Huang and his men depart, Sumumu wonders about Xiaofeng's location. Lin Ye calls it a secret, and leaves after urging her to enjoy the holiday. When the females offer to accompany him, Lin Ye denies their assistance. He emphasizes clearly that this impending operation is designed to be undertaken alone. Chapter 56. Several teachers go throughout the area, asking locals about Lin Ye after failing to locate him. After several inquiries, they finally approach his apartment and knock firmly on the closed door. Suddenly the door opens, and Sumumu arrives, calmly approaching the group of visiting instructors. Then, she continues narrating that the protagonist has gone to clear a dungeon beyond the city. Before she can continue, a female teacher unexpectedly interrupts her with an irritated and nasty tone. She makes Sumumu listen intently, even knowing she is a rare recruit contested by institutions. Without permitting a response, the teacher continues speaking, her words loaded with barely veiled hatred. She states it is Mumu's option to attend a top 3 elite university or elsewhere. According to her, the top universities boast the strongest faculty and deepest academic foundations. She contrasts this with universities lacking thresholds, which drop standards carelessly to recruit students. The teacher asserts her remarks or recommendations, delivered simply out of goodwill and concern. Then, she purposely announces Lin Ye's decision to apply to Apocalypse University, ranked 10th. She underlines that Apocalypse University is the only one willing to admit Bai Ji. The connotation is apparent, aiming to disturb Sumumu's confidence and sense of direction. Previously, this same teacher personally approached Lin Ye to discuss the recruitment situation. Lin Ye answered directly, declaring he would attend no university without his complete squad. He reiterated this was his only condition and refused to compromise further. The teacher reacted violently, snapping that no university would take such an underperforming student. She criticized him as someone reliant on connections, regardless of his #1 standing. Contrary to her expectations, Apocalypse University approved all of Lin Ye's conditions. This decision severely startled the female teacher and left her noticeably uneasy. Lin Ye further remarked that university rankings carried little influence in his personal decisions. He indicated he sought only a university genuinely fit for his growth and future. Standing in the doorway, the teacher coldly told Sumumu of the final deadline. She explains that today is the last day for exceptional recruitment possibilities. After today, prestigious universities will forever close their doors to Sumumu. She wants Mumu to consider carefully and make a wise, irreversible choice. Sumumu gently agrees to ponder it and closes the door behind her. Left alone, she muses on how offensive Lin Ye sounded, despite being justified. She takes out her phone and realizes he still has not replied. Meanwhile, Lin Ye is deep within a dungeon, fighting enemies ceaselessly without respite. He depends on excellent fighting instincts and overwhelming moat to control the battlefield. Using the reversal skill repeatedly, he efficiently slaughters the dungeon enemies. After clearing the area, he heads toward the exit portal while calculating progress. He understands he no longer needs to kill 10,000 boss creatures. At this pace, achieving the monster requirement by holiday's conclusion seems trivial. Although leveling pace remains slow, dungeon resources continue fueling his advancement. Shangguan Yan and Huang Tianqi have spoken with Apocalypse University's principal. This guarantees Lin Ye retains access to university dungeon resources without interruption. Most importantly, Lin Ye feels Apocalypse University is the greatest decision for him. The top 10 colleges are cradles for creating elite professional combatants. Their students are prodigies with remarkable skill, resources, and powerful family backgrounds. Naturally, these universities have developed restricted networks and hierarchical contempt chains. Above them lie the renowned top 3 universities, shunning ordinary students totally. They disqualify applicants relying exclusively on connections, regardless of personal strength. Lin Ye feels appreciative toward Shangguan Yan and Chairman Huang for supporting him. Their efforts assured he became more than just a student with connections. As Lin Ye walks toward the departure portal, a hand suddenly lands on his shoulder. A familiar voice yells his name, pausing him mid-step. Turning around, he sees Sumumu and Baiji standing behind him. They came particularly to check on his condition and dungeon development. Lin Ye explains that dungeons include 200 to 500 minor monsters. He tells them meeting the need before holiday's conclusion is entirely achievable. He then announces them all 3 have been admitted to Apocalypse University. They will remain a permanent team and continue clearing dungeons together. Sumumu urges Lin Ye take a real break from frequent dungeon grinding. He had been inside dungeons too long, despite doing tasks efficiently. The graduation class's final test has already ended successfully. Additionally, the long-expected graduation journey is about to begin. Lin Ye suddenly discovers he completely forgot about the graduation trip. The graduation trip is a semi-recreational event arranged by the Combatant Alliance. Participation is free, regardless of grades, academy placement, or professional path. All expenses are formally contracted and entirely reimbursed by the Alliance. In this era of demonic tides, humanity enclosed cities for survival. Though huge tides halted, roving monsters still exist in the countryside. Small-scale demonic tides periodically arise, threatening unprepared locations. The Alliance performs frequent patrols and cleanup efforts across areas. Each city keeps outposts, monitoring nearby wild areas regularly. Outside metropolitan regions have evolved into semi-tourist, semi-training zones. These zones attempt to enhance unity and adaptability among humans. After discussion, Lin Ye accepts to join in the graduation trip. On departure day, the train platform is filled with students and civilians. Students excitedly discuss future goals and compare their attained grades. Lin Ye finds several persons present who definitely are not students. Among them is Shang Guanyan, causing Lin Ye evident confusion. Lin Ye questions why someone like Shang Guanyan is present here. Shang Guanyan argues he is still of eligible age despite leadership status. He desires to report early to Apocalypse University and familiarize himself. He then casually confesses his plan to join Lin Ye's permanent team. This revelation utterly throws the protagonist off guard. Meanwhile, a man concealed in the shadows silently listens to everything.